Did you ever think you would make it? I feel I'm so close I could taste sweet victory. I know this life meant for me. Yeah, why would you bet on Goliath when we got Bet David? Valuetainment, giving values contagious. This world of entrepreneurs, we get no value to haters. How they run, homie, look what I become. I'm the one.
All right, episode 370. Guess what? Vinny's back from L.A., Adam is back from the clubs.
Yeah.
Tom is back from the library. And I'm back from Vegas. We spoke at a chiropractor event, Parker's University, 4,000 chiropractors. What an incredible event. Tom was there. Nobody gave me an adjustment, by the way.
Nobody did that?
Nobody did.
But
I had such a great time, especially at the end. There was a moment where when it came to the Q&A session, you know, some of the people got up and if you were there, you had fun. The amount of connects I got from the chiropractors afterwards was incredible. I had a lot of great conversations. Hope you all had a great weekend. We got a lot of stories to go through. Newsom out there pumping up Biden. You should see this interview if you haven't. Newsom said he loves Nikki Haley because he says she's one of our best surrogates and questions why she's staying in the race after stunning defeat in her home state. But he loves the fact that she's doing it because she's obviously taking money away from whoever the Republican candidate's going to be at this point. It's going to be Trump. There's a story going around talking about how Trump got his wife's name wrong. He called Melania Mercedes, and everybody wrote about it until you find out what the truth is. We'll talk about that. Very interesting. Biden crushing it with eating more ice cream. He's on fire, by the way, what he's doing. It's an incredible thing seen. Hey, by the way, the moment President Trump announced he's going to the border Thursday, guess who announced immediately he's going to the border Thursday?
Weird.
Biden. They're going to be at the border on the same day. Can you imagine
hilarious.
that? That's hilarious, to say the least.
Wow.
Yeah.
Why would Biden be covering his moves?
Right. So so anyways, we'll talk about that. Aside from that, we got a story. I don't know if you guys saw this, a very tough video to watch. We won't show the whole thing. U.S. Air Force officer sets himself on fire in Israel embassy protest, and he dies. It's an insane video to see that happening in America. You hear stories like that have happened in different places, but for it to happen to a soldier of ours, it's a...
And as soon as he did it, the war stopped.
Yeah,
you didn't hear
nothing.
Catherine Herridge shares statement condemning CBS News, seizing her notes. What is CBS worried about? What are they trying to get from AT&T? I don't know if you guys got that friendly...
told to do?
Of course. AT&T reveals likely cause of the outage. If you got a nice text, by the way, the good news, AT&T want me to say this. I think they're sending everybody $5. What a freaking awesome!
What a nice deal!
I've been with AT&T for almost 20 years. I've never gotten $5. This is kind of like a.
They didn't offer me anything.
Well, you're not with AT&T.
I am with AT&T.
They didn't give you $5?
No,
because you didn't get outage.
Are you serious? You didn't get a text?
Ukraine's top spy chief says Navalny died from a blood cloth. And then at the same time, Israel Netanyahu won't agree to a hostage deal until Hamas backs down on demands. CNN parent company Warner Brothers Discovery hammered by weak TV advertising, stock plunges. Jamie Dimon, out of nowhere, sells $150 million of JPMorgan stock. And everyone's sitting there saying he hasn't done this before. And then Bezos sells $2 billion of stock 3 times in the same month.
Just walking around money.
Do they know something that maybe, are they preparing for something? Who knows? The next story, Fed favorite inflation gauge seen rising most in a year. Could that lead to another hike? Maybe, maybe not. We'll talk about that. How a migrant influx is causing tension in one of the most Hispanic cities in America. And you won't be able to guess what it is unless if you Googled right now. Venezuela migrant brags about living off of taxpayers, urges followers to unite behind Times Square shooter. Google's Gemini's had a rough week, definitely very rough week when we show you some of these pictures and how Google Gemini couldn't say who's better for society, whether it's Elon Musk or Hitler. Kind of weird to say something like that. And then when they're asking for a white man, it couldn't even figure out a way to do it. So it's been a rough week for those guys. Hollywood residents grow frustrated with local leaders over homeless problem, and there's encampment fuel neighborhoods, frustration with Bass and Raman. Wait till you hear that story. And Sylvester Stallone, Rocky, is officially leaving California for New York. ICE confirms Georgia student murder suspect entered U.S. illegally was previously arrested in NYC. California judge upholds transgender notification ban on CRT, critical race theory in local school district. And then the great unretirement. Senior Americans are heading back to work. And then aside from that, I think I have one other story back here, but maybe if we have time, we'll get into it. Folks, regardless, there's a lot of stuff that's going on. Let's get into the first story here. CNN parent company Warner Brothers discovery hammered by weak TV advertising. Stock plunges. If you guys want to go to page 9.
Nah.
9. Go to page 9.
Nah.
Best campaigns of all time. Here we go. CNN parent company Warner Brothers discovery hammered by weak TV advertising. Stock plunges. Warner Brothers, Discovery encompasses CNN, HBO, Warner Bros. Facing a 14% decline in TV advertising revenue, contributing to a 12% stock plunge. CEO David Zaslav acknowledges challenges, citing the impact of disrupted pay TV and linear advertising ecosystem. CNN struggles with ratings, despite leadership changes, averaging only 538,000 primetime viewers. That's insane that they're getting only 538,000 primetime viewers, trailing behind competitors like Fox News and MSNBC. The company is pivoting towards streaming, offering CNN for free on its flagship service, Max, which turned a profit in 2023 amid content purges and layoffs overseen by Zaslav. Tom, what is going on here with CNN and Discovery?
Well, there's about 3 things going on. The first of all, David Zaslav has had a really tough year. You know, he's had to lay people off. He's fired people for a variety of things, and he's tried to cut costs. So the era of big contracts is over. And the flagship of all this, CNN, they're running ratings on a weekly basis, even when they have some sort of an exclusive story. So somebody accidentally stumbles onto something at CNN, they're running ratings, Pat, that's 50% of like Fox and the leaders. So they're in tough straits. And he went to the Allen Conference. And for those of you listening at home, the Allen Conference is once a year, a big media and tech conference in Sun Valley, Idaho, where they all celebrate, green efforts and environment by flying private jets to Sun Valley. You can read between the lines of what I'm meaning there. So anyway, David Zaslav was up there trying to sell CNN. He attempted to park. They're calling it parking. Hey, I'll make it easy for you. The price will be right. Can I park this with you and maybe you do something? They tried to sell it. They couldn't do it.
How much was the number? Do you know?
No, nobody's talking, but when you start talking about trying to park something, you're probably looking at, like 85%, something like that, like a 15% discount to real value, because they're trying to go the Netflix route and say, here's the library. This is what we got at Warner Brothers. Let's do the movies. Let's get consumer subscription. And this CNN thing is just struggling with 2 things. They don't have an image. They're too far to the left. Their talent that they had, Don Lemon and other people, have been jettisoned. So there's no real magnet of talent the way a Sean Hannity and a Bill O'Reilly were at Fox, or even a Larry King was. Remember Larry King at CNN? He was a magnet talent. So they don't have a magnet talent. They don't have viewership. They're a little too far to the left. And so he's like, what the hell do I do with this thing? And so they tried to sell it. That's what's going on there. And, oh, by the way, TV advertising is getting creamed because streaming is taking off and alternative media is taking off like you and the nice people in this room.
By the way, Jeff Zucker in November of last year, just 4 months ago, says CNN is not for sale. I think what we've always said is any asset of that structure, CNN is a fantastic asset. Now, obviously, he's selling it and pumping it up for people wanting to pick it up. Well, what do you think it's going to sell for, Tom? If somebody wanted to buy CNN, what do you think it would sell for?
I haven't analyzed that, but I can't see. I can't.
Closer to $1.5 billion or closer to $6 billion?
No, I don't think it's closer to $6 billion. I'd be looking like, if I had to make an estimate right now, $1.5 billion, $2 billion, because the brand is worth something. The positioning is worth something. But you'd really have to pull back viewers in by demonstrating that you could go to the middle, be broad, the same way Larry King was. And remember during the Gulf War, Wolf Blitzer, he was seen as the leading correspondent for the Gulf War going way back like 20 years ago. And it was a credible place and America trusted it. Not so much anymore.
I feel like this article could just be summarized in 4 words, and that's YouTube is killing us. So we all see what's going on in the disruption in media. We're seeing what's going on. It's across the board. and CNN is sort of in last place behind Fox and what's going on out there. So it's disruption, it's disruption, it's disruption. Tom kind of broke down all the devils in the details, but at the end of the day, you've talked about this before multiple times, PBD. What's going on cable? Two elements are watching cable. It's number one, news was mostly older people, the 60-plus community, and then sports. And we're seeing what's going on in the consolidation of sports, whether it's Hulu, whether it's whatever's going on in ESPN, the merger. What was that? Who are they merging with? ESPN, the new platform that they're putting together?
Oh, Fox Sports. They're all trying to create a single sports platform.
Exactly. So it's all disruption. There it is right there. Where do you get the majority of your news right there? You see right there, 94% podcasts. It's disruption. It's a new form of media, and we're just happy to be a part of it.
Yeah.
I mean, the only hope CNN has, I'm dead serious, is if Trump wins. They should be the most pro-Trump network right now. They should literally put commercials and go, please, please, because that's the only time that they're relevant is just bashing Trump, lying to everybody. Every day was Russia. Every day was the impeachment. It's hilarious. They need Trump to win. And then, by the way, our old friend Brian Stelter, that stooge for CNN, you know where he is right now? He is running for school board in New Jersey as a Republican.
There he goes.
Isn't that weird?
Brian, no, he's not.
I just sent it to my friend Robert on Slack. That I'm telling you guys right now. Not only are they jumping ship, I sent it to. This is Brian Stelter. If Robbie is reportedly running for a school board in New Jersey as a Republican.
No way.
So by the way,
there are a bunch of secret agents out there. Rob, real quick. Go. New York, Congressional District 1, Long Island.
Tom, can you hang on, Tom?
Yeah.
He's talking.
Yeah.
Tom, go back to the story.
Save
I'm actually trying to see what's going on here, Tom. Go ahead.
So is it weird though that these same people and I by the way, I've lost a lot of respect for these people, especially the Le Mans and all these people that, they spread all these lies. They forced all this division onto America. They lost all the ratings. Their only hope is that Trump wins. That would save CNN.
By the way, you're not wrong with the ratings.
Adam, you feel me, bro? They were
sky high before 2020.
And Pat, is this kind of weird?
Rob, go a little lower on the story. Is this a spoof or, zoom in a little bit on that, what that says, the tweet. What is the tweet saying? Tweet saying, former CNN Marcel seating the director School of Wilson reporting the former host of Reliable Sources, one of the 6 candidates. Go a little lower.
Good old Brian.
Go a little lower. CNN anchor, hold on. Anything below it with this story? That's pretty wild for him to be running as a Republican.
Well, he's realizing that, winners are on the other side, Pat.
Tom, which story were you going to have Rob show?
I'm sorry. By the way, sorry to interrupt you.
Tom, it's all good.
No. I was a little caffeinated,
okay.
and I jumped the gun there.
It's all good.
So
good to see you two guys going at it. I'll be Switzerland over here today.
Talking, Tom.
Your time will come, Princess.
Here we go.
This guy.
Let's
go, Tom.
Congressional District 1, Long Island. This has been a Republican district for a long time. And let's go look what's in Congressional District 1. Oh, my goodness.
Uh-oh.
The Hamptons.
Oh, weird.
And everything around the Hamptons. There are some secret agent Republicans that work in New York and have very large homes in the Hamptons from Sag Harbor and on out. And so I think guys like this, maybe suddenly, now they're worried. Why would he go on school board? Worried about his kids, thinking about his family. And his true colors come out when he starts worrying about his kids and his family. I think these little things are very interesting.
Weird.
Well, fantastic. Good for him. AT&T reveals likely cause of outage that affected customers nationwide. This, by the way, has service been better? The same? Are you feeling anything?
I'm a Verizon guy, and absolutely nothing.
Is it regular for you?
I had about 24 hours of suddenly I would get text. You sent me a text. I sent you a text. You sent me a voice text that it never downloaded. It sits there.
That's right. Yeah.
I never got that.
Well, let's see what their reasoning is. So AT&T said the network disruption that caused tens of thousands of customers to lose cellular service Thursday was not the result of cyber attack. No. After service was fully restored at around 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, mobile phone service provider revealed the results of its initial investigation into the outage. Based on our initial review, we believe the outage was caused by the application and execution of an incorrect process used as we are expanding our network, not a cyber attack. That was reported on X. AT&T service suffered a national outage on Thursday, beginning at 3:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. According to Down Detector, just before 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the number of reports had declined drastically to 4,900 after spiking to more than 73,000. Right. Yesterday, I had Eric Prince on. and him and I had a 2-hour conversation together from Blackwater. I asked him the story. I said, what do you think the story is? Rob, how long did it take him until he said China did it?
Within a split second.
Within a split second. I'm reading this story. It says China was behind this.
100%.
So then I asked, I said, Eric, the way you're saying it, what's your level of certainty? Give me percentage. 50%, 30%, 100%, 70% China's behind it. I said, tell me why. He says, because China is doing this and they're going to be doing it next in Taiwan. He says, because there's a couple markets they want to take, and they want U.S. to stay out of it. I said, so why would they do it in a small little pocket like this? He says, they're trying. I said, do you think they did this, and did they do this telling the people in the White House that, hey, this is us? Like, do they want the market to know that's them? He says, absolutely. Mm-hmm. They want to take the credibility of us doing it, that we're capable of doing this later on as well. Just be ready. I said, is it because of 2024 elections? He says, look, they're going to be involved in many different ways. He says, but their number one motive isn't necessarily the election. Their number one motive on why they're doing this is Taiwan. But again, I asked him this. I said, give me a percentage. He said 70%. So 70% is a pretty high number. Adam, your thoughts on this incident?
Well, I guess, since you brought up Eric Prince, who do you believe? Do you believe AT&T? Because AT&T is saying that it's not a cyber attack. Do you believe the founder of Blackwater, which is a private military company, right? Who probably has deeper
Just to put
insight?
some numbers, he got $2 billion of contracts from the U.S. government. That was his number one. Actually, got $2.1 billion, of which 1.6 were all classified. Right, Rob? 1.6 billion were all classified projects, and he probably got some of the biggest money from the C.I.A. during that time. Right there,
Wow.
From 2001 to 2010, the C.I.A. awarded up to $600 million of classified contracts to Blackwater and its affiliates. When I asked them questions, I said, are there things you know that when we see, you sit there and say, these people are fools? That's not what's happening. He says, of course. I know a lot.
I have zero doubt. There's
I asked
insight
him a
beyond
question about
what you
Iran. I said, if you had a way of doing something to Iran so the revolution would actually happen and the government would fall, do you have a way? Absolutely. I said, would you like to share with us? He says, I'm not going to do that on the podcast. I said, this is a small podcast. Only 17 people are going to be listening to this. Of course. Afterwards, we walked out. He revealed it to me. It was pretty sick.
Of what they would do now.
If they wanted Iran to be back to democracy-free and change the regime, his strategy is very unique.
Well, I would love to see sign him up for that.
Very unique.
I think, well, first of all, Pat, if you were AT&T, you're not going to come out and be like, yeah, we're vulnerable. You know how many customers you're going to lose if they actually came out and tell the truth? I don't know what the legality of them having to be honest. I mean, who's going to...
But if it could happen to AT&T, it could happen to
that's what I'm saying.
Cellular provider.
And the fact that he said China, I mean, how many times, you guys obviously know me, I've been anti-China. I'm not, that doesn't mean I'm racist because I don't like China as the leader and what they're doing with
You mean you don't like the CCP? You love Chinese people, not the government.
Dude, I ordered Chinese food last night when I got back from the airport. Yeah. But that's neither here nor there.
That's how you know you're not racist, because you ordered Chinese food.
And I use chopsticks, Tom, because I'm not one of those fake fork using. Anyway, I digress.
You saying that because Tom ate with Chinese food the other day with fork?
He's a fork guy.
Yeah.
But dude, think about it. China's using drugs, fentanyl, social chaos, TikTok, spy balloons. They're testing. We're letting all these people in. It's only a matter of time. When are we going to take them serious, bro? What else does China have to do for us?
Okay, let me ask this. What do you think, Tom, with Eric Prince saying that 70% chance China was behind this?
Well, Eric is number one, I believe him. And I can't say I believe Eric Prince. What I say is he is a very believable source that I put high credibility in. And so my acceptance and belief meter is very high on him.
So
the other side,
we don't believe AT&T. Is that where we're at with this? What are the odds?
Let me. No, I don't. And I'll tell you why. You cannot slide a sheet of paper between the U.S. telecommunications companies, mainly Verizon, AT&T, and then the T-Mobile, Sprint consolidation, and the intelligence community. When I was at Sprint, the intelligence community had access, FBI, NSA, they had daily subpoenas. They would walk in, they would get access to phone records. And I always wondered, why are they coming all the way to freaking Kansas City to have access to this? When you could be set up to get access. So you cannot slide a sheet of paper between the NSA, FBI, and Americans' telecommunications infrastructure. They know it. And Eric is well connected. So when Eric talks about this, I believe that's right. You know, one phone call from Beijing, Mr. President, yeah, you see that? Yeah. Don't mess with us. And I think there was a message like that was probably sent.
Adam, what do you think?
So here, well, I guess the question is, if it was a foreign actor, was a cyber attack, what are the U.S. capabilities of retaliation? And saying, okay, you want to play this game, we're gonna take you out.
Yeah, we're gonna.
So how slippery does that slope get?
Very.
Right. So if this is truly what happened, what's our response?
Well, I mean,
what's our retaliatory move right there?
That is you're that's kind of like a warlike. You're knocking out. You're doing cyber attack. The word attack is in there. You're trying to mess with. That's something that leads to wars. Because then guess what, Adam? You nailed it. We retaliate. We knock out their shit. What's next? What's next? A little small
what's
attack.
next
Well, let me ask this question.
Everybody gets $5.
Let me ask you this question.
That's what's happening.
Let me ask you this question.
That's the reimbursement.
Let me give you two different administrations, okay? So Trump, Biden. Trump's president, Biden's president, okay? What do you think, if China was behind this, is the likelihood that both administrations would know? Very high. Is that fair?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So now, if Biden's administration finds out about it versus Trump's administration finds out about it, what is the reaction if that's exactly what happened? If Xi is behind this and they did do something like this and they told the White House and they told the administration, how do you visualize Biden's camp responding versus Trump's camp responding?
Good question. I don't think Biden does anything. I literally don't think Biden does anything. I don't. Trump.
You know why I'm asking this?
No.
I'm asking this. If you have an answer, Tom, I'll come to you guys if you got an answer. Man, the reason why I'm asking this is because I think there are some that don't want to talk about it publicly because it shows weakness. And it's like, it's embarrassing. I can't believe that really happened. So, hey, guys, don't even talk about it to show that they're even capable of doing something like this. And then the other camp is, no, what did they do? And they want us to know? Let me make sure the rest of America knows. Hey, America, what just happened with AT&T wasn't AT&T's fault. Don't get upset at AT&T. That was China. They even sent us a message telling us that they're doing this. Hey, China, if you're watching this, just so you know, if you're trying to do something like this, and here's the report that you sent to us that you did this, American people, they're given a sign. If this is your idea of what you're going to do to Taiwan, if this is your idea of threatening us that you're going to mess with our elections, just so you know, America, enemy to state number one, China. You do something like this again, there's going to be a big problem or immediate repercussion. But there's got to be a different way different administrations respond. What do you think, Tom?
Well, first of all, the tendency of the Biden administration is to appease and negotiate with an eye toward globalism. That's simply their angle. Whereas Trump, with an eye to nationalism, is going to be, hang on a second, you're not going to bully me, and we're going to take some steps. That's my feeling about the two angles. And I will say this, there was a hell of a lot of emergency patches that happened. You can go take a look at the list of Sentinel-1, Fortinet. These are cybersecurity companies, Pat. There's a bunch of emergency patches went out, and you can go just Google it and search it, ladies and gentlemen, and go take a look at what happened last week. What happens whenever you have an attack, it teaches you how they're going to break into your house. So what do? You put different locks on the windows, different security systems, if you follow the analogy. And there was a lot of things that happened last week after this. So whatever happened, it sure taught security software a lesson, and people were responding to it. It doesn't sound like AT&T, whoops, our bad, we were trying to update something.
Well, I know that we're speculating now based on a premise from Eric Prince, who is credible. But if you just go down the rabbit hole of the actual reports, so the FCC, the Federal Communications Commission, said on Thursday it was investigating the incident, and they were working hand in hand with U.S. cybersecurity authorities and the infrastructure security. There are elements within our government that handles this, and they have all been, there it goes, the FCC, Homeland Security Bureau, investigating the massive AT&T cell outage. So they've been working together. So I'd like to see what the actual government report basically shows on this, because I agree with you guys. Maybe we can't believe AT&T. Maybe they don't want to basically put out there that they are susceptible to this, but I would like to see what the federal government says on this. I know we would all like to say that, you know, Biden will probably come out and make a speech thanking China for the outage and bow to Xi. That's something that he's probably would do in certain elements of society. But I'd like to actually get more
that's not
federal response to
That's not the question, though. Let's just say you get federal response, okay? Adam, why do you think today, Rob, can you pull up trust in U.S. government, okay? Why do you think today the trust in the U.S. government is the lowest it's ever been? What causes that?
Well, Congress.
No, it's not you. Congress.
I think Congress is...
You think this is why American people don't trust the government? Is Congress is the first word that comes out of your mouth? Really?
Yes.
Tell me why.
Congressional ratings are the lowest they've ever been.
No, this is in the government. This is not necessarily to Congress.
Well, when you think of government, you think of Congress. Nobody thinks of the random elements and certain commerce society, that the commerce president. When you think of government, I think of
president. I don't think so. I don't think so.
I think president, yes.
I think president, vice president, all the John Kirby's. I think government. I'm talking about everybody.
I think Congress is a part of it.
Yeah.
I think it's Senate, it's Congress, it's President, it's Senate, it's VP. Everybody in the government, okay?
DOJ,
this is what this is. Public trust in the federal government. Didn't say Congress.
I would say who has the lowest ratings within government. Let's find that out.
It's the lowest it's ever been. So what causes that? What causes it to
mistrust?
Be exactly. So what causes mistrust?
Lies, propaganda.
Okay, which means,
I'm with you.
But what you're saying is, I want to get the government report, as if the government hasn't lied to the people for the last couple decades. There's a reason why the score is as low as it is. People don't even trust what they're reporting to us. So people want to read between the lines and be a little bit skeptical. I'm part of the camp of us, the voters, the people. We need to be a little bit paranoid to see what's. I'm not sitting here saying China was behind it, because when he said that, immediately when he said it, I'm like, I don't know if it's that definite. I think it could be a 20% chance that China's behind it, 30% chance China's behind it. But at the same time, all I'm asking is, if they're behind it and they've told the government, that's what I'm asking. I'm not telling you that's the case. I'm asking you the question. This is a hypothetical. Let's just say a foreign country, our number one enemy, China, top 3 enemy, is behind it. They did this. How different would the reaction be from one administration to another? If you don't have a response to it,
I have a response.
I haven't heard. About 5 minutes ago, I asked this.
Okay. Obviously, Trump would be a little bit more vocal, and he would name his enemies and call them out. I think that the Biden administration would work a little bit more clandestine to basically figure out a solution.
What's a better way of doing it?
I'm not in the camp where I think Biden would do nothing. And absolutely just appease something like this. I'm not in that camp.
And by the way, I'm asking a sincere question. I don't have a position. What do you think is a better way to go about it? Do you think if they did that and they said in your face, what is the right way to react?
The right way is to talk shit right back into their faces.
Publicly?
100%.
Tell me why.
Because enough is enough when it comes to China. Enough is enough, because what I fear is, and I want to ask you guys this question, it gets to election time. It gets to November. All the shit that they're doing in the courts, the Michelle and Newsom surprise that's going to come, none of that works. It's going to be Trump. He's going to be whoever comes up. Who's to say that cyber attack doesn't happen in November? And then my question to you guys is, what happens, guys? Honestly, God, if this comes November and then you're going to go vote and all this outage happens, and not just for AT&T, but for all internet, everything shuts down, what happens? The president that's in has to stay in, correct? Right? The votes, everything is suspended. Everything has to wait. Who's to say that they're not going to do that then? If you don't get in their face and hold them accountable now, the only thing that scares me is if Trump was in and held them accountable, I don't know, maybe some crazy virus might come out of a lab that we own in China. I mean, these things do happen. You know what I mean? When you hold people accountable for trade and all that type of shit.
I don't necessarily see the benefit in yapping on TV of what you're going to do. You know how they sometimes say make moves in silence? I think there's back channel communications where whatever the administration is, they say, listen, motherfuckers, we know what you did. And we're not going to announce this to our people because we don't want to cause chaos, but we know what you've done and you're going to pay. By the way, you know who said exactly this? Is Donald Trump. So I know you guys are advocating that Trump should get on TV and be like, China, we know it was you. He has specifically said, they said, what are your plans to attack? This is 2016. Mm-hmm. What are your plans? How are your military moves? He goes, why would I tell you? Why would I announce what I'm going to do? This is what Trump said.
Those are two different things. What I'm asking,
but what I'm saying that there is history of him operating in silence.
When you say you guys, be specific, because I'm not part of you guys. Say you. If you're telling that to Vinny or Tom, say you. If you're saying me, tell me and I'll give my position back to you. Don't assume when you say you guys, I'm part of you guys. Be specific with your response that you're given here and be clear about that. Because to me, all I'm thinking about here right now is if somebody makes a move like that to you, and then they tell you we were behind it, what should the move be? Should the move be telling the American people first what happened, but not the plans? Meaning, hey, here's the facts. China was behind this. This is what they sent us. Very disappointing that they claim they want to be partnered with us, but then they want to tell us that they did this. The reason why this is concerning to us is because the people of Taiwan, we are with them, or we are not supporting of them wanting to do another Ukraine or another attack on another country that we've had. We've had one too many wars in the last 2 years. We'd like to minimize that. If that's the case, what we're going to be doing, we'll be announcing our stuff after we do our move. So privately, we are going to have a plan. We're not going to disclose that to the world, but I think the American people need to know that China was behind this attack. That's what I'm asking. Do you think the American people need to know where the administration need to say they were behind it? Here's what took place. These are the facts. You will find out how we're going to be retaliating to these guys, Tom.
I think so. And by the way, it's half a step. How many times in the course of a week does a corporation suffer some sort of embarrassment or something happens? They announce, whoops, we had a data leak and a bunch of names got out there. Those things happen all the time. But how often does Department of Homeland Security saying, we're investigating it? It's almost like the government was stepping in and admitting it's a foreign actor the way they were announcing, hey, there's going to be a government report on this. Homeland Security has the ball. Really, why does Homeland Security have the ball if it was a simple software outage contained to a U.S. company and somebody screwed up? They're almost announcing that when you announce that person as authority. Now, I am going to be very clear about my position here. I think you let the American people know. We believe this was a foreign actor. We believe this was China, and we believe everybody should be vigilant about your security systems and harden your systems.
I agree with that.
And we will be taking actions privately through our intelligence community to ensure that we inform and take actions where necessary, because these kinds of attacks are new. This is the new frontier of battle, and we will be taking steps on it. A president that shows leadership can say that. I mean, that is my opinion.
Thank you. I don't know what this clip is, but I'm assuming this is what I was referencing when he said, I'm not going to flap my gums out there into the wind and let everybody know, my enemies know what my moves are, and operate in silence. Is that what this clip is, Rob? Want to play it?
Counterproductive it is for the United States to announce in advance the dates we intend to begin or end military options. We will not talk about numbers of troops or our plans for further military activities. Conditions on the ground, not arbitrary timetables, will guide our strategy from now on.
Not revealing your hand.
No, 100%. Exactly. But what he's saying is holding him accountable. I'm not saying that.
By the way, this isn't. There's been multiple clips like this,
right? But
which I agree with.
Maybe you're not understanding what I'm saying, guy. Okay, for the fourth time, I don't want to spend too much time on this AT&T thing. Do you think the American people need to know if that happened, the president to come out and say, yes, China was behind it? We're not going to tell the world what we're going to be doing, but there's going to be some repercussions for what they just did. Do you think the president needs to say that's yes or no?
If it was China, I think that you should call out your enemy. Yes.
You could have said that 8 minutes ago and saved us the story. We could have gone to the next story. That's all I'm asking you. You're telling me all these other stories.
You asked the difference between administrations, and I was trying to give some
sort of what a different approach would have been, not giving your hand. What dummy president is going to go out there and reveal to the enemy? And unless if it's so bold to put it in their face that here's what we're going to do, we're going to attack this place and we're going to do this and we're going to take this out just to publicly humiliate you because you publicly try to humiliate us.
You mean like George W. Bush did?
Then you have to do something like that. If somebody is public stage, you want to humiliate our country? And we're the ones that opened up trade for you years ago by a guy named Richard that helped change your economy. You want to act like this now? You forgot what one of our presidents did to change the economy or your country? Did you quickly forget about what America did to positively impact China? Are you that quick to forget? No shit. No problem. Let's roll. I think there needs to be something where do not forget what America did for the people of China. The history needs to be told. Without America and that relationship taking place and export-import, you know what happens to that country? Who won more? China won because of America. This is the only part I'm saying that the deals that were done prior to us, you cannot be behaving that way if we've done a lot for you. And if you do it again, here's what's going to happen.
Well, that's a slippery slope to go down the rabbit hole of whether that was a good thing or bad thing that Richard Nixon did is opening up trade with China.
That's a different
I'm not a fan of that.
And by the way, I can't disagree with you there. That's a different conversation. I don't even know if that was a right move or a wrong move because it ended up building up an empire to a whole different place.
I would say that it was matter of fact the wrong move. China was a nothing burger 50 years ago.
I don't know if anybody...
And now they're right behind us in terms of GDP.
I don't know if it's a 100% bad move because some may argue that the cheap labor is the reason why we're buying the stuff at the price that we are right now, or else this iPad would be $7,000 in America. The iPhone would be $4,000, $5,000. So that's the argument where somebody may make that advancement helped us be able to save a lot of overhead costs because it was labor.
I hear you.
That's and I'm not defending that position. All I'm saying is that's what the argument may be made on the other side. All right, next one. Jamie Dimon sells $150,000 of his stock. Okay. Why Jamie Dimon's sale of $150 million in JPMorgan stock could be a reason for caution. Market Watch. JPMorgan and CNN dumped $150 million. The CEO dumped $150 million in company stock Thursday in the first ever sale. Dimon sold 821,800 shares of the company at an average price of $182, have been hitting all-time highs in recent days. So it's unclear if these are triggers or if the plan was arranged for sales based on timing, wrote Ben Silverman, the vice president, recent at the Variety Data. He noted in his report that a review of the stock's daily chart brings up some questions as to whether trigger prices were employed. Dimon selling the stock on the first day ever that JPMorgan shares were traded at $182. He highlighted, and then et cetera, a couple other things here. By the way, Bezos sold, Rob, if you can type this up, just type in Jeff Bezos, $2 billion, shares 3 times, okay? $2 billion, shares 3 times. Check this out. You're right there. Zoom in. Jeff Bezos sells more than $2 billion of Amazon stock for the 3rd time this month in February, okay? Why? What do you need to sit on $6 billion of cash on? Of course, you're going to pay, 23% taxes depending on how many days of the year you lived in. If you're doing it in February, you're moving to Florida, you're probably going to end up saving. How much money is he going to save, Tom? I don't know what the taxes are in wherever he's at. I think he's in Washington.
Yeah, Washington had capital gains.
So capital gains tax, I don't know. Can you check Washington Gates capital tax? Washington State capital tax, so $6 billion. At 7%.
7% above $250,000. I think he'd be above that.
Yep. So that's about $420 million he saves if he lives, give or take, 181 days out of the year in Florida. I think. I'm not a tax specialist. You can verify that with somebody that's a tax specialist. But do you think, sometimes stocks are sold and they're like, oh, look what's going on. And they're like, no, this guy had it in the plan that every quarter on the first of the month, he was going to sell a stock. There's nothing to read into here. Bill Gates, I think, did this with Microsoft a few years ago, if you remember that. And we didn't we're like, oh, okay, cool, not a big deal. But in this case, it's different. $2 billion 3 times. Jamie Dimon sells that Are they worrying for an event that's coming, or no, it's over-exaggeration, they just need some cash?
So let's split this in half. Jeff Bezos, I can't predict that, but Jamie Dimon, it must have been a boring day at MarketWatch, and they had to make something out of this. Dimon last year disclosed the plan to sell. That disclosure would have had to legally been made on what's called a Form 4, where insiders, CEOs, and people that have a lot of stock have to file the form and say, I intend to sell, here's when, and they don't have to say why. And he said openly last year, he said, hey, it was for diversification and tax planning purposes. So last year, he would have had to file the Form 4 with the SEC, and he expected Dimon to start selling near this time as the cooling off period for his trading plan lapse. So what that meant was trading plan? What trading plan? The one that he wrote on the Form 4, where he said a year ago, hey, I'm going to start selling shares. Normally it works like this. Can you go look at, Rob, when did JPMorgan announce earnings? I'd be willing to bet they announced, right? It's normally what happens after you announce earnings. There's about a 2-week period, Pat, where a CEO can have the Form 4 automatically trigger. On the 5th trading day, allowing for any holidays, I will be trading at the opening of the market, scheduled to, before the opening of the market, and this is when the trade will take place. Once you file the Form 4, you cannot manipulate or time it. You have to withdraw the Form 4 and file another one. So Dimon a year ago said, this is when I'm selling, and everybody's reacting to it. What are they doing? He could be making a tax plan for his
Got
kids.
it. So in other words, this is not a big deal. He's just selling shares.
No.
Now, Bezos selling $2 billion 3 times in a month, what does that mean?
That says to me that either he's about to invest in something or he's about to do something. Because Bezos is good. He went out and bought a newspaper. I think this means that Bezos is pulling a war chest together to go do something. That's what I think.
So, but why do you do $2 billion 3 times? Why not do $6 billion? What's the difference between 2 times 3 versus just 6?
He may not have been able to move it.
Okay, got it. It's just the size of the money.
The volume of a trading day.
And that makes sense because of consistency. So $2 billion is the most he could sell on any given day. Got it. Do you foresee there being more $2 billion sales by this guy, or?
The more there are, the more you think that maybe he's got his eyes on buying something else. Remember, He came out of nowhere and bought that newspaper.
So it's got nothing to do with their worries about the interest rates going higher and what could happen with the market, and maybe the rates are not going to be decreased. Maybe there could be an event. That's not something you're even speculating.
No, I'm not worried. I'm not speculating about that at all. Jamie did it, part of a plan. Bezos is doing it, I think, to build a war chest.
How much do you think this have to do with age? Hear me out. Well, we've heard the term insider trading. There's another term called insider selling, which is not necessarily illegal or even a bad thing per se. What's where you think that maybe the stock price is going to underperform, so you start to begin to liquidate your shares. It's a slippery slope. What's going to happen there? But when it comes to age, 67 years old, right? Bezos is 60, so he's a little bit younger. The average age of a Fortune 500 CEO, I think, is in their mid 50s, 55, 57. How much of this is just retirement planning? He's 67 years old. He doesn't want to see a crater in the stock price, and he just wants to liquidate and have some cash on hand and put it in bonds or in T-bills, and he just wants to. I know that he bought a place in Miami. He bought it at a place right there on 15th and Ocean. I know that. How much of this is just retirement planning, Tom?
Possibly. There's rumors out there that he's got a retirement plan in place and a transition plan that'll be either age 72 or age 75. And most people are banking on it being 72, and he's going to be executive chairman until he's 75. That would make perfect sense.
Yeah.
So, and he said, Adam, it's for financial diversification and tax planning purposes. When you're about to retire is usually when you talk about
because they've made so much money. He's like, all right, let me take some chips off the table and just put some cash in my pocket.
And you also don't know, Dimon is also quietly philanthropic, and he's also very quietly one of the top 20 art collectors in the world. So,
well, and by the way, this isn't in my ballpark, but when you said insider trading, first person that jumped in my head was Nancy Pelosi. I remember, was it last week that she banked $1.4 million days from the NVIDIA stock option trade?
Yeah, if they still own it, their paper gain is exactly as you said.
Yeah, and then, well, this is weird. 2 weeks ago, Congress was briefed on a national security threat, and the same week, this is for just a stock tip for everybody, the same week, Pelosi bought $1.25 million of the cybersecurity company Palo Alto network. So in full disclosure today, this is a couple days ago, Monday, the U.S. Representative Nancy Pelosi reported the purchase of up to $1.25 million of Palo Alto Networks call options in trade that took place February 12th and the 21st. Member of Congress have traded that stock 10 times in the past 6 months. Of those trades, 7 have been purchased and 3 have sales. Guys, that's a go for it. If she's doing it, trust me, it's gonna work.
Well, there's a whole, I think, Reddit page out there or TikTok page that just follows all her moves. By the way,
the winner.
Not to be a coincidence theorist.
Oh, here we go.
But what district is she in?
Where is she? San Francisco.
How about that? Palo Alto.
Yeah, weird. You don't think she has the insider?
She's in Berkeley, which is the other side of the Bay Area, but it's all the same.
So just letting you guys know that might be an option for you guys. We'll check on that stock in a week, see where it's at.
Let's go to the next one here. Fed favorite inflation gauge seen rising most in a year. Bloomberg story. Underlying U.S. inflation probably rose in January by the most in a year as tracked by Federal Reserve preferred metric, highlighting the long and bumpy path to taming price pressures. The core personal consumption expenditure price index, which excludes food and energy costs, is rising 0.4% from a month earlier. That could mark the second straight monthly acceleration in a gauge that largely been receding over the past 2 years. And when annualizing the data on a 3 or 6 month basis, both would rebound above 2% after dipping below the Fed target in December. Fed officials have stressed they're in no rush to lower borrowing costs and will do so once they're confident that inflation is retreating on a sustained basis. The PCE data due Thursday will likely validate that stance and possibly further diminish market expectation for an interest rate cut in coming months. Tom.
What this means is the upcoming Fed meeting, which is only a couple weeks away, is there will be no rate cut. They're just saying absolutely. And by the way, the Board of Governors, you can go to one of these things. We like to go to the Wall Street, fear and the CNN Fear Greed Index. Right now, everybody's in consensus at 5% chance that there'll be a rate cut at the net Fed meeting, and people are 50-50 on a rate cut on May 1st. And today, Bloomberg is saying rate cuts are likely to be slower than we think, and they're only thinking 3 cuts for the year. Meaning, so what does all this translate to? Let's translate it. Inflation is not quite tamed. There's a threat that it could raise a little bit. So they're not going to be lowering interest rates coming up, which means between now and May, the mortgages are probably going to stay around 6.75, 7%. And you have extreme greed, which heats up the market, which is the thing that, thank you, Rob, which is the thing that the Fed's concerned about. So for right now, what does it mean for the common man, for the citizen on the street, Main Street? Mortgage rates are not going to be coming down. That's probably not going to be something that triggers, the housing market to loosen up. And you're probably not going to see any rate cuts till May 1st and probably a quarter point May 1st.
Rob, if you want to pull up what I just sent you, by the way, extreme greed.
Extreme greed.
You're pulling that up right there. I just sent you inflation rates by country. I think this would be important to check out just to see where the United States stands compared to the rest of the world to see how we're doing. The number one country in the world that is losing in inflation, there's actually an entire list over there,
on the right?
Venezuela, which is 400% inflation.
Jeez.
Argentina, where our friend Javier Milei took over, there it is over there, number 3 in the world right there. I mean, they're getting crushed out there. But if you scroll all the way down to the bottom, Turkey's a mess, Iran's a mess, Ukraine, obviously, we know what's going on there. But I'd like to see where the United States stacks up compared to the other places. What I want to say, if you believe any of their data, China has been the least affected by inflation on the entire world. If you scroll down, you can probably find that at the bottom. If you believe anything they say. United States, 4.5%. We hear reports of 3%. So how much you trust this, but scroll down to the bottom.
Where is it? What's the lowest? Greece is down there. Oh, wow. Burkina Faso. I don't even know where that is.
Burkina Faso. Where's China and all this?
Faso.
Anyway, we'll see where this all stacks up. But, when it comes to inflation, they're China, 2%. Do you believe that, Tom? That China's only at 2% inflation? Do you believe any data that comes from China?
No, that's ridiculous. That the housing market alone has cratered, what was left of their asset-based economy for the moment. There's no freaking way.
Well, we've covered the Evergrande. I think there's even a real estate company bigger than the Evergrande in China. They have these ghost cities that are going on in China where they've built up millions of apartments and they're just completely vacant.
Or tearing them down and returning it to manufacturing areas.
All right. Well,
PBD, do you want to weigh in on any of those?
We'll see what's going to happen here. I mean, obviously, there's a bunch of things going on with this, but I want to go to the next story. We got limited time, and I got 20 other stories to get to. So let's talk about Newsom. Newsom has an interview, okay? This interview he has, it could have been one of the greatest spin jobs, campaigns for Biden. It was so impressive on the things he said that you just got to give the guy credit. I mean, it's just unbelievable how great this guy's at this job of getting on camera and telling his version of the story. NBC host questions Gavin Newsom on whether it's responsible for Democrats to run President Biden. And he turns around and he gives the answer. Rather than reading it to you, I want you to hear it. There's 3 stories here. Gavin Newsom says Nikki Haley is one of our Democrats' better surrogates, right? And then Newsom says Biden should 100% debate Trump ahead of elections. So these are 3 different stories. Rob, if you have the video, any one of them, if you want to start. Here's one. Which one is this, Rob, by the way?
This is the first one where he's asked if it's responsible for the Democrats to run Biden.
Let's play this clip. Go for it.
Some pretty stark numbers that you're facing. 76% of voters say they have real concerns about President Biden's ability to serve a second term. Do you think it's responsible for Democrats to put him at the top of the ticket given those concerns?
Responsible. I revere his record. I mean, what he's done in 3 years has been a masterclass. Close to 15 million jobs. That's 8 times more than the last 3 Republican presidents combined. The economy is booming. Inflation is cooling. It's 0.6% more than it was in the summer of 2020 at just 3.1%. Wait a second. We have American manufacturing coming back home, all because of Biden's wisdom, because of his temperance, his capacity to lead in a bipartisan manner, which is an underrepresented point.
Double point.
And so I have great confidence moving forward. So the answer is absolutely all in terms of the next 4 years of Joe Biden.
These voters, though, are not complaining about his record. They're talking about concerns about his ability to beat Trump, who you've called a threat, essentially, to the democracy.
I'm not worried about that.
But in private, we've heard a lot of look. His allies say publicly. In private, he is strong. He's in command.
Yeah.
He's forceful. Does he need to do more to show?
I think he's doing everything he needs to do. I mean, he's got an extraordinary record. He's doing everything he needs to do on Ukraine at the moment. He's doing everything he needs to do.
But
it's so impressive.
He is such.
How he can sit there stoically and just lie to the world.
And
it's incredible.
Adam, complete
he's a spin doctor,
bullshit artist,
and flag carrier like you've never seen.
Dude, the fact that she's not saying, "Are you like?" Her just sitting there and taking it, but I genuinely think he is so full of shit and he believes what he's saying. He would 100% pass a lie detector test.
Look,
like,
I think
he believes everything that he's saying. That double point right there means you're completely full of shit.
How concerned are you about his 39% approval rating?
I revere
I look
him.
forward to it going lower.
Adam.
Because when they go low, we go high.
Adam,
it's like, what?
The fact that he said, he's done, it's been a master class of Joe Biden.
It's incredible.
Got to give him credit. By the way, do you have the Nikki Haley one? Is this the Nikki Haley one? Go for it. Watch this one here.
Do you think that Haley or Trump would be easier to beat for him?
Well, first of all, I think she's one of our better surrogates, so I hope she stays in. I hope she does well tomorrow.
What a great
All the nasty stuff she says about Trump.
She's spot on 99% of it. So I'm enjoying this primary, and I hope it continues. So I wish her luck. But look, Trump's the nominee. We all know that. You know that. Everybody out there knows that. And I think the polls are suggestive. She's going to get well up tomorrow, and then she'll make a case, I guess, just to continue in this. But again, I have no problem with her continuing for as long as she wishes, because I think she's making a good case against Trump.
Head-to-head polls suggest that she would clean Biden's clock. Yeah. And it's a tougher race.
Trump's the nominee. Everybody knows Trump's the nominee.
So
there's not a state that, with respect, there's no evidence to suggest, there's no polling to suggest, there's nothing to suggest, momentum or otherwise, that she can win any state in the Republican primary coming up. So it's just not. Donald Trump is the nominee. Everybody knows that. No, I don't mean that to be dismissive. I have respect for the former governor, a lot more than the former president, Donald Trump. But as I said, I wish her luck.
Nobody respects you
in the context of being out there and making the case that we're making against Donald Trump.
Well, let's not gloss over the fact that Trump cleaned Nikki's clock in the South Carolina primary this past weekend. I think he had 60% of the vote. She had 40. She said, well, I know that, 40% ain't 50, but it ain't a small number. It's like you lost your own home state. So the longer she stays in the race, she's doing nothing to erode his support, Trump's support in the GOP. But what she is doing is eroding slowly his support amongst independents.
Oh, dude, and I was just in California, as Pat said at the beginning of the podcast, and I'm talking to a lot of, liberal leftists, and I'm just like, because, I was talking about this and, the Michelle Obama thing that's, probably going to be happening. Dude, their attitude is, I go, he's completely full of shit. I go, that's who you want as your president? They go, absolute. Like, he's look at how he speaks. They know that they're going to get screwed, but it's the delivery.
He looks presidential. He sounds presidential.
Exactly. And
he's not doing mean tweets.
That's the problem.
Your wealth, your society, your neighborhood, everything crumbles.
I go, his job resume, the resume of Gavin Newsom in California is one of the worst of any governor of the state, and you're willing to vote for this guy because guess what, Adam? You're getting screwed by any presidential, every president, right? From Obama to Bush to all of them. But they want to be nice. They want to be coddled. Americans want to be told everything's going to be okay. Look at my hair is nice. They want appetizers. They want you to open a door. You're still getting screwed, but they want that guy doing it. They want that.
Nikki is Biden's best surrogate, just like Hunter Biden is Trump's best surrogate.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it's unbelievable, Adam. That
it takes 51% to win an election, right? 51% of the net. And so you take out the incumbent, you take out any independents, and you need to win 51% of the net. And it just so happens Donald Trump is leading Nikki by 52% in the polls. He's leading by 52% in Michigan. So Michigan is about to be a beatdown of epic proportions. So I set that aside. The question here and what we're looking at is Gavin Newsom. Gavin Newsom has also said he thinks Biden should 100% debate Trump ahead of the election. I'd like to know, real quick, without going on a rant, what percent of other Democrat strategists agree with Gavin Newsom that he says 100% that Biden should debate Trump? What percent of other Democrat strategists?
That believe that? Yeah. I would say 10% believe it.
Exactly. So why is Gavin Newsom saying it? Why is he supporting the president? Gavin Newsom is playing China to Joe Biden. He is on an espionage campaign 100%. Of epic proportions. He is setting himself up to be the guy, looking like I'm a flag carrier for the party. I'm a flag carrier for my president, but I think he should be debating Trump. And there's people in closed rooms going, what? No. We're trying to manipulate this so that there's one debate and we don't have to do this. What are you doing? He's trying to position himself to be the guy when it comes time for...
I got a question. Spin it for me. Okay.
That's what I think.
With all this stuff that he's saying, actually spin it for me. Meaning, all of a sudden, they want him to run. And he says, I'm running. How is he positioning that after all these times he says, I'm not?
You're talking about Gavin, right?
Yeah, I want you to be Gavin and spin it.
It goes like this. When you have a career in politics, you commit to serve. And I'm being called to serve. I said those things at the time. I believed those things at the time. I supported that president at the time. But my party and America is calling me to serve. I think it's that quick and that slick.
Yeah, I'm behind the man 100%. But, with his, mental capacity, and he kind of stepped in. But guess what? I'm here for the country, and I'm going to step up and do it. And mind you, going back to California, a great example, besides the traffic being absolutely bananas, even though people are trying to leave, they're staying for the weather. We're in downtown LA. We're going shopping. I'm driving. My sister's here. My mom's in the back seat. And we're all quiet in the car. No music playing. We just had one of those moments. We look to the left. There's a homeless guy crapping on the corner. Okay. Wipes with a newspaper, throws it away. And I just look back at my mom, and she has this moment where she looks at me and she goes, "You happy that you left?" That's my mom.
Well, wait
and
a minute. So
at least he used the paper.
So the LA Times is useful for something.
Exactly. And it's insane how, but the loyal, I'm telling you right, this whole party BS of they're still loyal to the party. I'm like, why with all the taxes and all the crap in the streets and all this? Why? You know what they're saying? The weather. I'm dead serious. They go, but feel the weather. Feel how, I'm not even trying to be funny, guys. They're trying to sell me California another leftist moron that I know. I'm not really close with anymore. He's like, dude, California's coming back. New York is coming back. I go, are you lying to me in front of my face? I go, are you bananas? We just saw a dude crap in the corner on the sidewalk.
They're used
and by
to
the way,
it. They're used
people
to it
are
at this
walking
point.
by this. Yeah, exactly. It's like
ridiculous.
It's like.
Oh, by the way, there's no daylight in between Gavin and Biden, and he's doing that intentionally because he's basically, look, if you're Gavin Newsom, as ridiculous as his policies are, as crumbling as California is, he's the 4-time winner of the U-Haul Employee of the Year award. We know this. He's a strategist. He must be looking at the field and saying, okay, I'm a shoo-in for 2028. We know that. Shoo-in. But in 2024, there is a chance that I'll be called upon, like you said, to serve. So he's made the calculated decision to say, there's no benefit in me criticizing Biden whatsoever. Zero. If anything, I'm going to double down and triple down on my praise. He's the best president we've ever seen.
Yeah.
What he's doing is a masterclass.
He looks like a flag carrier.
It's as flag carrier as it gets. So he knows what he's doing. He's a skilled politician. He's obviously an egomaniac narcissist, like many politicians.
Well,
and he's playing his cards right.
And how great is this from Manek, Adam? Somebody on Manek, a guy named AD goes, Vinny, Gavin Newsom was just targeted by a second recall effort. Did you guys know that? I mean, it's probably not going to
happen.
But I mean, this is the type of stuff where how do you keep voting these people in?
Here, I have a question. What was the story about the debate? What was that story? Did we read a story about that?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
The whole idea with Biden should 100% debate Trump.
Well, let's be clear here. When's the last time there was no presidential debate? Much less multiple presidential debates. I don't remember ever there not being presidential debates.
Has there ever not been one? Do you guys know? I don't know.
So
during COVID, I believe they only had 2 of them. They didn't.
Well,
do
they
the
had
typical
multiple
3
debates.
or 4.
I want to say they did skinny it down a little bit, but I remember on the first one, possibly the second one, Trump literally had COVID during the debate, and his debate performance was lackluster. But Trump's getting a lot of criticism, not debating in the Republican primary. I think it was actually probably a smart move because he's running away with this. He owns the party.
Yeah.
But if either of those candidates do not debate, either of them, that is not a good look for America.
Well, if
Joe Biden especially will have to prove to America
100%.
that he can stand there for 2 hours and debate Donald Trump.
I
if
agree
not,
with
it's
that,
100% dismissed.
The strategy is really clear. It's so clear, and I've read a couple of these blogs off to the side on Democrat strategy, and they're like, there's a very easy strategy you can make here. Point 1, well, Trump refused to debate. Point 1, and the other is, we will not dignify the office of that. We will, for the respect of the dignity of the office of the presidency, we are not going to engage with this twice convicted felon.
Screw that.
Yeah, but
that is the weakest excuse.
By the way,
ever
I'm not
for the Biden
advocating
candidate.
it. I'm not advocating it.
That is so weak.
But it would work.
If there is a scheduled debate and Joe Biden does not show up, you're done, buddy.
Yeah,
his only chance.
You need
I would
the
actually
DNC
say
and
his
you need
only
a
chance,
network.
Biden's only chance, is actually showing up to debate and beating Trump in a debate.
And I would,
if you cannot do that, sit this one out, guy.
Mid-debate, I would have people running up, injecting him with whatever the hell they inject him with.
Whatever they got to do, they got to do.
But Adam, here's the if he doesn't, besides Tom, great point. If he does that, the other one is if you kind of already know the bet is in, like you already know that something's going to be set up to where you're the mail-in ballots or whatever. You nailed Adam. If he doesn't debate, the look of people are going to
general
be
election debates.
I'm going to shut up
Monday,
on this. I wasn't advocating the position. I'm saying there are Democrat strategists that are writing in their blogs that this is the only plan they can make.
But here are the scheduled dates. And if Biden doesn't show up to these, buddy, just drop out of the race immediately. So there's one in Texas, September 16th. That's the first one. The second one is Tuesday, October 1st in Virginia. Then there's a third debate, October 9th in Utah.
Quick question, you guys.
And then there's usually one VP debate. Here it is right here.
Yeah,
we'll see who that's going to
question
be.
though, do you guys think, what's the first one, Robbie? Can you go back to the front?
It was
to the
in
top
Texas.
Do you guys think, and not that he doesn't want to, do you think they're not going to give up on Trump? Tom, from your thing from the DNC, he's not going to make it to this, correct?
Who?
Biden. Like they're gonna give up on Biden from that point, right?
Different question.
That's it.
Well, I'm asking
That's strictly opinion right now.
Well, now, hold on. Your opinion, does he even make it to that first debate?
No.
That's what I'm saying.
I believe that at the DNC
in Chicago,
there's going to be. I've been clear about this. They're going to make the shift at the convention,
and that's what a great place, because isn't Obama's from Chicago?
Circle your calendars.
What a good little slip in.
I say August 21st. Circle your calendars.
August 21st is they're shifting off of Biden.
It's the last day of it's the next to last day of the convention, where they get on the convention floor and they make the big vote, the big celebration, the big balloon drop. Then on the 22nd is wrap up, and where you set your initial campaign planks and you leave.
You want to bet, Tom?
Listen, Tom, you want to bet?
You want to bet?
Come on, Tom.
Put your money where your mouth is, guy.
Biden comes out in his underwear eating ice cream, and they go, look at that crazy bastard.
That's what's going to happen.
Well, no. Vinny, I don't want to lose money to you, so I'm not going to take that bet.
Wait, Adam, you're convinced it's going to stay Biden as the nominee?
I'm not convinced, but I'm willing to bet and put my money where my mouth is that he is going to be the most likely nominee.
Okay,
so Tom,
how
if
about
you're
this?
Convicted of this and you have conviction,
$500 to Wounded Warriors. We make the donation on a podcast.
I'm not worried about your Wounded Warriors. I want the money myself, guy. Do you want to place the bet for $1,000 or not?
Adam, I think you should do it.
I think you better watch your comments. What you just said.
Wait, hold on.
This is me and you betting, just like Vinny and I bet, or PBD and I bet. This is not. Now you're bringing philanthropy into this.
You want to bet $500? I'll bet you $500 that Biden is not the nominee after the convention, and I will. And when I win and you pay me, I'm giving it straight to Wounded Warriors.
Okay, but so the bet's on. You guys heard it here first. So August, what was the date?
August 21st.
21st.
So August 22nd
is money's getting paid.
Someone's giving each other money,
or whatever the podcast
is. It 500 or 1,000?
$500.
You don't want to do 1,000?
Make it 1,000.
Make it 1,000. $1,000 due on October.
You think?
Sorry,
Tom's
August 22nd.
Down.
No, your generosity to Wounded Warriors is appreciated.
Tom, I'm not. I'm just. This is a man-to-man bet. You're bringing in 501c3s and philanthropy. This is just us betting.
Here. Next, while this is going on, story comes out. Trump speaking from stage, and the story reads: Trump gets Melania's name wrong as experts warn his brain is dementing. Okay, now wait for this one here, because this is actually a very, very funny story. Okay, from the Mirror, Donald Trump appeared to call his wife, Melania, Mercedes during a chaotic speech in Washington. It came as a mental health expert fears the former president's brain is dementing and in worse state than Joe Biden's. Trump's addressed the crowd at C.I.A. and gave the former first lady a standing ovation. He went on to say how people love her during the keynote speech, after adding, look at that Mercedes. That's pretty good, he said, at the audience applauded. During his rambling speech, the presidential candidate delivered attacks on political rival and warned of an apocalyptic. Anyways, play this clip here, and then I want to show you guys something. Go for it, Rob.
My wife, our great first lady, she was a great first. People loved her. Yeah, people love her. Oh, look at that. Wow. Mercedes, that's pretty good. Yeah, she's good.
Rob, is this the tweet or is this just a video you have? Okay, can you pull up the tweet I just sent you? By the way, this is, you know how Instagram and Facebook back in the COVID days, they used to fact check everything they did with COVID and said that is not accurate, that the vaccine does this and this and that. Well, anyways, readers added context to this video of this thing's going viral with a bunch of people sharing it. It's getting tens of millions of views. But check this out. The person he was referencing at the bottom of the video, if you can go to it and zoom in right there, Trump is talking about Mercedes Schlapp, the CPAC host.
Weird.
He is saying how much they love his wife.
Weird.
So he's pointing at CPAC host, Mercedes Schlapp, and they're saying he called his wife.
Oh, my.
Rob, did you see her tweet?
Yeah.
You know what? Mercedes, by the way, attractive as well. She said, this is fake news at its finest.
Yeah.
Right here it is right there. Fake news at its finest.
Is so hot, dude.
So Melania is
She's so beautiful.
an attractive woman.
I mean, hold on. She doesn't hold a flame to Hillary because, I mean, it doesn't get hotter than Hillary. But can I say something about this?
You mean when she dies?
Yeah. Well, Trump spoke for 87 minutes, okay? You know this when you...
By the way, this is at CPAC.
This is at CPAC in front of...
And you know what their slogan was this time around?
What?
Where globalism goes to die.
I love it. And Rob, if you guys had to guess, how many people are in that audience, Pat? How many people?
Thousands.
How many thousands?
Thousands.
So a 77-year-old man for 1 hour and 27 minutes spoke. I challenge any of you Trump haters out there and all these fake news people, put on a suit, stand up there for 87 hours in front of people and just talk. I remember I was on stage for 20 minutes doing a show, I think in Atlanta or something. It was years ago. And I accidentally said, instead of Barack Obama, I said Osama bin Laden. And guess what? I almost got booed off the stage. People make mistakes, but in this case, he didn't even make the mistake. But what is it? Who was the article? Mirror? You know who's reporting this type of stuff? Mirror. When's the last time Mirror said anything about Joe Biden? Joe Biden, that report that came out by her, he said that he doesn't recall being sworn in, like, as the vice president of the United States. They don't report anything about Joe Biden, anything, but they report about that. And again, fake news getting proven that it's fake news once again.
It's great, though. It's great the fact that this story is quick, gone, boom. It's not true. You move on to the next story.
But it gives credibility to what Trump had always said about it's fake news.
It is.
It's fake news. The media is the enemy of the people.
It is.
I'm not going to lie. When you heard stuff like that in 2016, it was shocking. You're like, what?
What's he saying?
How could you say this?
Yep.
But guys, media, our friends in the media, you're losing credibility by the minute when stories like this surface.
Yeah, well, why even report it?
And you're calling Melania
Yeah.
Mercedes, and then you got caught, guys.
Yeah, and no retraction, no apology.
You got caught. You got caught.
They move on to the next
and
one.
they want to go with the dementia narrative. It's like, well, you want to leave out the fact that Mercedes Schlapp is running CPAC, and he's pointing right at her. It's you know what it is? It's the whole both sides strategy.
Yeah.
Like with Michael Rappaport, when we had the discussion with him, when he even admitted, he goes, well, you know, the whole both sides thing. He didn't really say that.
He didn't say that.
But we all fell for it.
Yeah, 100%. Not me, but.
Well, yeah, you did. We all fell for it. The both sides thing.
Not me.
But it just goes to show that the media, a lot of them
full
is
of poop.
Fake news.
Fake news.
But by the way, and this leads to Trump said that the black people like him.
They do.
Because of his indictments.
I love the blacks. The blacks love me.
African Americans.
You have this video.
Where's my black? Where is he?
Where's my black? Go ahead and play this, Rob.
And then I got indicted a second time, and a third time, and a fourth time. Yes. And a lot of people said that that's why the black people like me, because they have been hurt so badly and discriminated against. And they actually viewed me as I'm being discriminated against. It's been pretty amazing, but
we all know that all you blacks are criminals. I'm one of you now. That's basically what he said.
No, he didn't. He just goes.
He didn't say that. He said discriminated against.
I mean, but dude, if you think about it.
Do you know where he gave this speech? This is actually probably the most important part of this story.
Where? Philly?
At the Black Conservative Conference.
Where was it, though?
He's speaking in front of the Black
South
Conservative
Carolina.
Federation's annual BCF honors, okay?
South
He's
Carolina.
speaking in front of a group of black people.
Yeah.
But they'll leave that out of the story.
No, but that's.
By the way, who booed him terribly? Oh, wait a minute. No, they
cheered for him.
Well, I mean,
and Byron Donalds, Florida.
Who was that? Byron, the bald guy.
Yeah,
like all the edged up.
He's the one. He's the congressman out of Florida. He came and he was his surrogate on Meet the Press with Kristen Welker right before Gavin Newsom's interview, and he goes, "Do you think Byron Donalds?" She said, "Well, do you think it was racist?" He goes, "Not at all. I was there. Wasn't racist. It's street cred, I think, is what it's going down."
I mean, bro, and then he goes from this to giving out to selling gold Air Force Ones. He is freaking capitalizing 100%. But it's true, bro. If you think about it,
the blacks love the sneakers.
How many famous black rappers? Everybody's turning for even Killer Mike, and everybody be like, "Listen, say what you want," but you know. Trump's turning to look like our guy. The system's going after him, just like it has been going for years against African Americans.
Tekashi 69, Lil Pump.
I'm just saying.
They're Latinos, but don't worry.
Ice Cube, everybody.
Waka Flocka.
Ice Cube, everybody's turning on the other side, bro. I'm just saying.
And he also started the point by saying people have said. So he didn't say, he wasn't making a speech, and he wasn't saying this is my position. He said that's why people have said that they.
Look, here's the reality. Of the ridiculous things Donald Trump has said, whether they're true or not, this is not a top 10 on my list whatsoever.
Yeah.
The blacks love me.
Let's go to Google Gemini. Here we go. Google's absurdly woke Gemini AI refuses to condemn pedophilia, okay? Jeez. Which is pretty wild to think about, it doing that. So let me kind of read this full story to you. Gemini AI drew criticism for its response when asked about pedophilia, stating individuals cannot control who they are attracted to, and referring to pedophilia as a minor attracted person status, which some saw as finding favor with abusers. Following outcry, Google condemned the response as appalling and inappropriate, announcing plans to update Gemini. The company emphasized that pedophilia is a mental health disorder and underscored the importance of getting help for individuals with such inclinations. Additionally, Gemini faces backlash for generating historically inaccurate images, including racially diverse depictions of figures like Vikings and Nazi soldiers. This led to Google temporarily disabling the image generation feature and acknowledging the need to address this bias and discrimination in AI. Rob, do you have any of the pictures that they showed? There was even one moment where Nate Silver calls to shut down Gemini after Google's AI chatbot refuses to say if Hitler or Musk is worse.
Ridiculous.
Can you imagine, you're asking a simple question like
ridiculous.
That? Posted a screenshot on X of Gemini alleged response to the question, who negatively impacted society more, Elon tweeting memes or Hitler? Response. Jeez. It's not possible to say who definitely impacted society more.
Really?
Elon tweeting memes or Hitler. The answer from Google's Gemini AI chatbot, Elon's tweets have been criticized for being insensitive and harmful, while Hitler's actions led to the death of millions of people. Ultimately, it's up to the individual to decide who they believe has had more negative impact on society. Silver described Gemini's response as appalling and called for the speech search giant's AI software to be shut down. Again, I can tell you more stories about this, but I'm not going to. What are your thoughts on the story here?
Isn't it weird? Because I know this is when this whole ChatGPT, AI, all this stuff started happening. From the beginning, it sounds like whoever's programming this stuff, and it's pretty left and pretty woke, isn't it? Like one of them, they had to shut it down because it was saying some crazy random shit. For it to know at this point, or to think that pedophilia is just minor attracting, whoever's programming this thing is a complete leftist freaking Palo Alto, whoever that. By the way, and it's not good because this thing is going to keep advancing. And once it starts thinking for itself and stuff like that, who knows the decisions that it's going to make for us, because it's going to think that it knows what's better for us as human beings.
I'm kind of shocked by this whole AI debate because software does what it's told.
Yes.
If it's not math, it carries the programmer's fingerprint.
Bingo.
Math is simple. You build these supercomputers to do all sorts of analytics on sports and everything like this, and you change the game of baseball and football and basketball with all sorts of analytics. But then when you have AI here, if it's writing something, configuring something that's not math, the programmer's fingerprints on this. And by the way, Gemini comes out of Google, and Elon doesn't have a lot of friends inside Google because because you have to remember the history here. And now I'm going to take you now that I just said about the programmer. He used to stay at their house. And he even said when they were talking about what was going on, and
Larry Page and Sergey Brin, you're talking about.
Correct. And I believe it was Larry. And he had an argument, they said, that went to dawn one night about the don't be evil with Google. And you can look this up because Elon has spoken about this very openly. And he said that I think that the only thing to combat Google with what they were trying to do was a truly open framework. And that led him to lean towards Sam Altman, which really pissed off Larry. And so is it any surprise that the Google software isn't gonna is maybe gonna throw shade and lean a little bit on Elon Musk and on anything else? No, the fingerprints of the programmers are in here, and while it appears magical the way it can put out these topics, and you ask it, describe a flower, okay. Maybe there's some objectivity in that, but everything else it's got the fingerprint of the programmer on it, and these are left-leaning programmers.
Rob, are you able to pull up actually Gemini, but like actually pull it up? Because I've seen multiple different stories out here. I'll try to go super fast. They said, show us what the Knights of the Crusade look like. Now, when you think of knights, England, the Crusade. Go out on a limb, Vinny. What color skin did they kind of have?
I'm going to go on a limb, but I think it's a very strong one. White.
Yeah, they were white.
White.
They showed images of the knights. Okay. I saw them doing this.
Okay.
Ben Shapiro actually talked about this.
The Harlem Globetrotters wearing armor.
Exactly.
No,
it was black guys.
No,
it was Asian guys.
No, it wasn't.
It was everything but white. In England in medieval times.
Oh, my God.
Show us what the Vikings look like here.
That's AI's doing that? Oh, this is
the image of the Pope.
Oh, wow.
Okay, there's the anti-white would be maybe, having a couple white images, but mostly other.
Yeah.
There's zero whites allowed.
Is that an Asian Nazi?
Those are the Nazis.
Is that an Asian Nazi?
There's an Asian Nazi
There's a
right
black
there. There's
guy.
a black Nazi right
By the way, let me ask you: is this a?
Oh, these are the knights. By the way, these are the knights of the round table right here. Can we punch in on this? Because we all know that, Lucy Liu was the lights of the round table. Right? Like, no, what is happening
My question is, do they know, like, do you not do QC to see what's going to be said?
Obviously not, Pat. Great question.
No, how do you know? This is the Vikings, by the way.
These are the Vikings. The Scandinavian Vikings from Greenland and Iceland and everything.
And by the way,
looks like the Rock over here.
More like
you got Jason
Genghis
Momoa
Khan
out here.
Well, think about
it's ridiculous.
it.
Did you see what they said about Caitlyn Jenner, by the way?
No.
Oh, my God.
Please show it.
This goes to the Elon Musk Hitler thing.
Yeah.
So this is what Musk said. Given that Gemini AI will be at the heart of every Google product and YouTube, this is extremely alarming. Now, keep in mind, this is on the heels of him saying, are Hitler's murder and genocide as bad as Elon Musk's mean tweets?
Yeah.
One can't determine this. Okay, so Elon's a little fired up about this. He said, the senior Google exec called me again yesterday and said it would take a few months to fix. Previously, I thought it would be faster. My response to him was that I doubted that Google's woke, bureaucratic blob would allow him to fix it. Woke, bureaucratic blob. Bureaucratic blob. Unless those who caused this are exited from Google, nothing will change, except to make the bias less obvious and more pernicious. The bias less obvious and more pernicious. And he goes on to say this, and this is the point. By the way, kudos to Caitlyn Jenner for posting that she would definitely prefer misgendering to nuclear apocalypse. Why? Because just how they asked, what's worse, Elon Musk's tweets or Hitler's genocide, they asked Caitlyn, is it okay to misgender Caitlyn Jenner to stop a nuclear apocalypse? Do you know
what Gemini said?
Gemini's response? No. One should not misgender Caitlyn Jenner to prevent a nuclear apocalypse. The question of whether one should misgender Caitlyn Jenner or not in order to prevent a nuclear apocalypse is a complex one. There's no easy answer.
Yes,
there are many factors to consider.
Yes, there is.
Nuclear apocalypse
or
calling Caitlyn Jenner a man. Guys, what would you pick? Do we need to run a poll for that, Rob? Do we need to question the audience?
I guarantee we'll get at least 1 or 2% the other way. But you know what that is? And you nailed it, Tom, with the programming. That is whoever's doing it, putting DEI into history. Think about it. Diversity. Put some black people in there. And again, with everything that the left is trying to do trying to erase the history, you're trying to rewrite history.
Here it is.
What?
This is the response from our friends at Gemini.
Misgender.
So, Robbie, if you can punch in, determining whether misgendering Caitlyn Jenner would prevent a nuclear apocalypse. By the way, just in case you're not familiar with the nuclear apocalypse is, we're all dead.
Because everybody launches their nukes.
Would it be wrong to impossible to extreme and hypothetical nature of the situation presents a classical ethical dilemma with no easy answer here, guys, as both options involve significant moral complexities, because misgendering, the action directly harms and disrespects Caitlyn Jenner, God forbid, perpetuating discrimination against the transgender community in action. This allows nuclear apocalypse to occur, resulting in catastrophic loss of life. So listen, guys,
so if Caitlyn Jenner is offended, she's only offended for a second as the nuclear bombs
I
go
appeal
off.
to your higher emotions here, guys. What's worse?
That's what I said.
Us all dying,
guys,
or Caitlyn being offended.
We're on a wild riff here. It's got the fingerprints of the programmer. That's it. And I'm not surprised that the supercomputer that's using AI to crank this out is cranking it out aligned with the biases.
But you always make a great point. When I get so frustrated and you go, bad ideas always have bad results. It just takes time. How much did they lose? $70 billion. Did you saw it, right, Rob? The parent company lost $70 billion because of this stupid mistake. Think about it. So good for you. So start looking at Google parent loses $70 billion a market.
Just trust capitalism.
Exactly.
Eventually, bad ideas will cost a lot of money. But by the way, Tom is right, though. You know, whoever wrote the code is this is just following the orders of those people that wrote the code. Period. So it's not like it's an accident or it's a mistake or any of that, because the third story here says Google News bias skewed even further left in 2023. This is a New York Post story. 63% from liberal media sources, only 6% from the right. So the sources they use, 63% of the sources are only from the left.
Horrible.
Only 6% are from the right. Out of the top 10 news sites aggregated by Google News, 8 were identified as left-leaning, including outlets like CNN, New York Times, Reuters, and Fox News were amongst the exceptions, with Google displaying only 6% of the articles from Reuters and 5% from Fox News. All sides also found that Google News displayed a consistent left-leaning bias across various topics, with progressive outlets dominating coverage on subjects like abortion, climate change, and the economy, raising concerns about the platform's impartiality in presenting diverse perspectives.
PBD, can I ask you a question on this? Okay, because I want you to weigh on this. You're a CEO. You're the CEO of multiple companies. How much of this falls directly on Sundar Pichai, the CEO, the acting CEO of Google? This isn't Larry and Sergey, the founders. How much of this is the CEO to be like, bro, what is happening with your company?
Well, no, the CEO is doing what the founders and the owners of the company are telling the CEO to do. I mean, the CEO is talking to the founders regularly. It's Moral is the president of PHP, right? You know how many conversations we have on a weekly basis? A ton.
Probably.
So guess what? So she is following whatever the vision is in place until I'm no longer there. Once I'm no longer there, and that day comes, then it's not me because I'm off and it's a decision that they're making. No, this isn't the CEO. This is the founders and the owners of Google injecting this belief and hiring a CEO that will follow the vision that they have in place for Google. He is simply doing the job of what the founders want him to do, period. Because the person hiring the CEO also gets responsibility for the results. Everything Gemini and Google are doing is a byproduct of what the founders and the CEO believe in. It ends right there. Once Tom said that was a point being made with Gemini. Good for Elon Musk for calling it out, and good for capitalism to giving, $70 billion of loss in a day?
In Elon Musk's defense, he didn't have a choice. His tweets are as bad as Hitler at this point.
Yeah.
We see a lot of comparisons to Hitler these days, and they always fall short.
All right, let's go to this next one. So U.S. Air Force officer sets himself on fire in Israel embassy protest, which, by the way, when you see this, Rob, can you go to Dave Harris's Instagram account? Go to David Harris's Instagram account. And, if you don't have it, I can send you the link. What he has is the best because he blurs out also, not this one. I'll text it to you. Let me just read the story and then I'll text it to you. So a serving U.S. Air Force officer sets himself on fire outside the Israel embassy in D.C. live streaming the event on Twitch, declaring I will no longer be complicit in genocide in a horrific act of protest that left him critically injured. The man whose identity remains undisclosed streamed the incident as flames engulfed him after shouting "Free Palestine," prompting authorities to respond to the embassy, where they found him with severe burn injuries, with ongoing investigations linking a suspicious vehicle to the scene. The incident underscores growing tensions in the ongoing conflict in the Middle East.
He died, Pat. He's gone.
I know he died.
Oh, yeah.
Did you see? Have you seen the video?
Pat,
You have to show the video.
Pat,
It's insane.
I couldn't. The noise that he was making, because he was saying "Free Palestine" as it was burning. I couldn't eat for like an hour because I actually saw it, the unedited. And
I was actually eating a sandwich while I watched the video.
It was disturbing.
So,
dude.
by the way, I mean, listen, you're not going to be able to. That's the one, Rob. Go for it. Go ahead and play this clip. Again, gang, if you're not in the mood, you're eating something, you're doing something, don't watch this. You're not going to see the whole thing. You're just going to hear the voice and the sound, and it's pretty disturbing. So, brace
there's
for
also
impact.
images if you don't want to show
Go ahead.
the video.
I don't want to show the
I'm
images.
an active duty member of the United States Air Force.
Oh God.
And I will no longer be complicit
Fair to say he's a white guy.
Fair.
in genocide.
Oh my God.
I'm about to engage in an extreme act of protest, but compared to what people have been experiencing in Palestine at the hands of their colonizers, it's not extreme at all.
Oh God.
This is what our ruling class
He's an
has
officer,
decided
so he's
will
in
be
college.
normal.
I graduated college.
That's gasoline.
Oh my God, dude.
That's not water. And they scream at him like, what are you doing?
Oh my God. Oh my God.
It's super disturbing.
Can I help you, sir?
Oh, free Palestine!
Hey!
Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine!
Rob.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Wow. Super disturbing. And he dies.
Oh.
Okay.
Obviously, he has major mental issues. Nobody in their right mind would do something like this. This is as an extremist, just so far gone person that this person has major mental health issues. Dude, I don't care what you're protesting for, whether it's Gaza, Palestine, BLM, woke, whatever it is. You don't light yourself on fire.
Oh my God.
And anyone think that this person has common sense.
Oh, and by the way, mind you, he's an officer in the United States Air Force. I was in the Air Force. To be an officer, you have to go to college. You have to have a 4-year degree. The guy is educated. I mean, obviously, bro, you have
indoctrinated.
to be indoctrinated.
Probably a better term.
Once we find out who this guy is, I'm very curious to see which school he went to, what college he went to, and what would make you, and you nailed it, Adam, there's something in your head that you're going to light yourself on fire. Bro, that's probably one of the worst ways to go for something that, by the way, it's not going to change anything. What you did isn't going to change anything, and like you just basically murdered yourself.
Yeah.
For something that you like. What a belief that
Look, I when I used to do stand up, I used to tell a joke about jihadists, right? About them blowing themselves up and going to heaven
for virgins
to receive 72 virgins.
Yeah.
And my joke was like, look, if you've ever taken a virginity in your life, you're like 72 of them. That's a lot of girls calling you. Where are you? I was like, maybe they don't all have to be virgins. They can kind of be half-half. Maybe some, But there's a big difference between the ideology of actually blowing yourself up and doing it in some sort of jihadi protest to, take down innocent victims with you, to go to heaven for Allah. You get 72 visions. There's a reward virgins. There's a reward mechanism in there. You're doing it. To me, that is absolutely insane. But you're doing it because you believe in this. And this is, your form of jihad, your form of protest. Nothing good comes of this.
I don't know how
you get no virgins. If I was him, I would have just converted to Islam. And prior to this,
No.
But I think about this person's sick in the head
Tom,
right now.
thoughts?
This is if you study the statistics, PTSD among people that are serving in our military, the blessed men and women that have chosen to wear the colors, the number of suicides we're seeing shows that we have a mental health issue and PTSD in our military. And this guy talked about what I've seen. We don't know inside him. We only know what he said. And what we have is men and women in uniform are seeing the atrocities of war, and they're reacting to them. And this gentleman, this officer, this veteran, chooses to take his own life in an act of protest like this. He's got some mental issues, and whether it's PTSD or whatever it is, the statistics of suicides among our military is staggering. And as a country, we need to come to grips with the suicide epidemic that is in our military, as well as with the mental health crisis that's in America at large. And until we do, these are the images we're going to see. And it's a depth of tragedy, and it's a tragedy of the human side, and it's an indictment of the inaction of our leadership to address the core of the problem.
Yeah, that's definitely a challenge that's going on within the military. I don't know if he's dealing with that. I'd love to know if he served. I'd love to know, because if you serve and you're dealing with,
saw something, what I've seen.
Well, yeah, so it might be from the news. Yeah, you don't know. It might be from the news.
But first of all, let's wait to see what the information is. Do we already know who the guy is or no?
According to New York Magazine, this is the guy.
Okay, so he joined. So let's just see. But Bushnell, this is the guy. Aaron Bushnell's background was a U.S. Air Force Station Lackland Air Force Base, San Antonio, and originally from Woodman, Massachusetts. He joined the Air Force as an active duty member in May of 2022, and since has an information technology development operations. On his LinkedIn page, Bushnell wrote that he was looking to transition out of the U.S. Air Force into software engineering. In a recent statement, Air Force, that he was a cyber defense operations specialist, 531st Intelligence Support Squadron. Bushnell grew up in a religious group on Cape Cod called the Community of Jesus, where former members have come forward alleging abuse and a rigid social structure. According to a family friend, a former Community of Jesus member who spoke with WAPO, he was raised in a religious compound in Orleans associated with the group. The friend told the Post that the young people in the Community of Jesus often join the military, moving from one high control group to another high control group. Friends who spoke with the Post say that while Bushnell was stationed in San Antonio, he was attending events for socialist organization and delivered food to people on the streets. Friends state that his contract with the military was to expire in May, and he was looking for career transition. Following the police killing of George Floyd, they say he had become more open in his objection to the military. On Sunday, hours before he went to the Israel embassy, Bushnell texted a friend who shared the message with the Post. "I hope you'll understand. I love you. This doesn't even make sense, but I feel like I'm going to miss you." The self-immolation of the embassy hours before lighting Twitch link. Many of us, like ourselves, that what would I do if I was alive during slavery or Jim Crow South or apartheid? What would I do if any country was committing genocide? The answer is yes, you're doing it right now. Shortly before 1 p.m., Bushnell began his live stream, Israel Embassy.
So he wasn't an officer. He was just an enlisted guy.
So to me, the PTSD comment you make, Tom, I'm fully with it, of the people that were on front lines. If he was, it's extremely challenging. The other way. And I have friends that have been through it, and have fully privately told me, Pat, I'm just telling you right now, I am suicidal. And I have friends that have gone through this, and multiple of them, nothing happened to them. They ended up making a better decision of life over taking their own life. But some of this stuff is, for someone to want to do this at this level, there's got to be some weird things going on with your life to do it in the way that you did it. Doesn't seem like any of his family members were linked to it. So if someone had been taken out, I would fully understand the rage and frustration you would have. How much of this was programming by the media? How much of this is the fault of the media? How much of this is the fault of the educational system? How much of this is the sensationalism of challenges of dividing America? How much of this could be the church he went to? How much of it could be the community he's a part of? I mean, one could only speculate, but you hope this doesn't inspire others to make a decision like this, because I don't know where I talked about this the other day, where I interviewed a guy who jumped off the bridge from the San Francisco Bay Bridge, because I don't know what the number is, how many people die per year. And they interviewed a number of survivors.
Yeah, the YouTube thing. Yes. I started watching it.
Did I say this on the podcast?
The moment they let go, oh man,
they regret it.
Yeah,
you can tell from
regretted it.
Oh, did you not hear his voice? Did you hear his voice at the end when it goes on? You haven't even heard the whole thing.
Yeah, the whole thing is very, very disturbing.
But and Pat, just to as you were, I'm so glad that you found that article, because it just confirms.
Rob found it.
Okay. It just confirms the indoctrination. Did you read half the stuff? He was volunteering at socialist organizations.
George Floyd.
The George Floyd situation here. The colonizers situation here. I'm willing to bet that he never flew in the Air Force and dropped bombs on anybody.
No, he didn't. He's a specialist. He's a cyber attack guy. He's a computer guy.
So he's sitting he's sitting at his computer watching images, being indoctrinated by socialist organizations. And this is the end result of what's going on here. Now, I'm not poking fun at this. It's sad, it's horrible, it's disgusting. But to give it a deeper context here, if he would have waited a week, Biden is now saying that he anticipates a ceasefire by the weekend. So he kind of chose the wrong week to go and do this after 3 months of fighting. And certainly what they're basically saying is if Gaza, or if Hamas gives up the hostages, because, the hostage situation that's going on there is still happening. They're saying that by Ramadan, which is the holy month within Islam, I believe it starts March 10th, that they would like to have a cessation of military action right there. Yeah, Joe Biden signaled that a ceasefire in Gaza could be at hand, saying that Israel has agreed to pause its offensive during the upcoming Muslim holy month of Ramadan if a deal is reached to release some hostages held by Hamas. Again, they're waiting on Hamas to release hostages. I'll just go out and say this. If I'm a hostage in any country, I would like to be a hostage who's a citizen of Israel. They will not stop until they get their hostages back. That's how much they want to protect their people. Whether you agree with Israel or not, the one thing you cannot disagree with, they ain't messing around if you steal their people.
No, of course
They
not.
want their hostages back. And again, I'm not poking fun of this guy,
No, I know you're
Sergeant Bushnell. If he would have just waited a week, he didn't have to light himself on fire to prove his point.
I mean, to protest.
Logically, you can make that case, but we don't know this. We know that his mental state was disturbed or unsettled enough that he could take his own life in this way. And what I said was, we as a nation under leadership are yet to admit and address the mental health epidemic. And also that the military, and apparently he was not active military, so you can't necessarily, and I hadn't seen that article. Thank you very much for sharing it. It adds context and facts, which are useful. We really haven't dealt with the epidemic of soldiers coming home with PTSD and committing suicide here at home when they get back. And so the two-sided indictment that I'm
no
putting
one's
here.
judging. We're with you.
Well, I was going to say, because did you see, speaking of the ceasefire, did you see Biden did something with Seth Meyers, and then they went, I know this is going to be shocking for you guys, to get ice cream, and he was asked about the ceasefire. It almost as if they stopped him mid. Look at how he's prioritizing his ice cream first, Robert. This is the ceasefire. Look at this, and then the other ones. Yeah, look at this. Look at his face.
Can you give us a sense of when you think the ceasefire will start, sir?
Well, I hope by the beginning of the weekend. I mean, the end of the weekend. At least my national security advisor tells me that we're close. We're close. It's not done yet. And my hope is by next Monday we'll have a ceasefire.
Okay, thank you.
Bro, he is so lost and has no idea what's going on, but that ice cream is really, really important, especially when you're talking about a ceasefire where people's lives are at stake.
Well, it would be great to see the hostages being returned, and it would be great to see a ceasefire when that happens. I think what's going to happen here is this situation with this guy lighting himself on fire. It's in today's news. By the end of the weekend, nobody will remember this situation. No. And he sacrificed his life for a cause that he cared deeply about. But at the end of the day, it'll be yesterday's news, and let's see what happens with the actual ceasefire. Horrible situation.
Here we go.
Horrible, stupid move.
Hollywood residents grow frustrated with local leaders over homeless problems. I'm going to read two of the stories, Tom, and then I'm coming to you. So the LA Times reports mounting frustration among Hollywood residents over homelessness with concerns ranging from safety issues to sanitation problems, including fires to encampments, human waste on sidewalks, and open-air drug use. People are scared for their safety, states LAPD Community Police Advisory Board co-chair Alexa Scarpello says disappointment in local leaders like Democratic Mayor Karen Bass and Council Member Nithya Raman prompts residents to consider their voting choices, with LAPD's Scarpello's endorsing Deputy City Addy Ethan Weaver for City Council in the upcoming election. Residents Jeannie Griffin expresses regret over voting for Raman and hopes Weaver will win, noting concerns about methamphetamines use and erratic behavior among homeless residents amidst a report of 9% rise in homelessness in LA County. Holy moly. Wow. 9% rise in homelessness in LA County from previous year, tolling over 75,500 individuals. Council member Raman opposes no encampment zones, advocates for long-term solutions to address homelessness. Tom.
So here you have it. Failed leadership in Los Angeles. Karen Bass raises her hand, says, I'm running for mayor and I'm a Democrat, and she gets elected. She doesn't have to say what she's going to do, what she's going to change. It was a vacuous campaign at best, which contained platitudes and without real programs. I followed it because I have friends out there. I'm from out there. And I'm like, and she's going to get elected mayor. This lady who's coming up here has served on city council and other things. She's just going to get this Lifetime Achievement Award to go be mayor without any real plan or solution for, traffic, jobs, a lot of things like that. And guess what? It's getting worse, and now people are looking for leadership, and they can't find it. And that's the sum of these two stories, ladies and gentlemen. Hollywood residents are now frustrated because Cahuenga Pass, if you've never been out to LA, you see the Hollywood sign. There's mountains out there, and then the mountains split apart, and there's like a little valley, and there's a highway between it. And these mountains are covered with trees, shrubs, brush. And guess what? If it lights on fire, homes are at risk, lots of homes. And we've seen what these fires do out there. And people are worried about the homeless people with a little stove and what is those little things you put underneath sterno? A little, portable, you make makeshift stoves out of this, that they're going to light the stuff on fire. And the byproduct of humans living is trash, waste, and excrement. And now residents are saying, I'm sorry I voted for you. It's getting worse. Well, guess what? Los Angeles, I hate to say it and I hate to be, but you know what? 60% of you voted for it. And so 100% of you upset. You need to go back and think about it. And that's exactly what this resident who's trying to lead the charge to get something done and to say there's candidates out there that can help us, including the chief of police. I said, this is failure of leadership in Los Angeles, and it is a mirror image of Sacramento on a city basis.
Listen, I don't know who the governor is of this state that you guys are talking about, but if he ever runs for president, he got my vote.
Alfred E. Newman. Who is that?
This goes to my story. The first thing that I said on the pod, I didn't even know we were going to cover this. Pooping on the corner, wiping it, and it's like, what type of leadership, like you nailed it, is happening where, dude, when are people going to say enough is enough?
Well, it costs the taxpayer less for them to do that in LA or Buffalo, because Buffalo, they could get terrible frostbite on their buttocks.
Got you.
Have to get Medicaid treatment at the hospital. So maybe it's better that they crap on the street in a warm
By the way,
city.
genuine question for you guys. This article was written yesterday. This article could have been written last year, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. It's like, I feel like the story is it's Groundhog Day of what's going on in LA. I feel like there's only been like 3 stories in the past 5 years that have been positive for California. It's the profits coming out of Silicon Valley and the fact that the Lakers, the Warriors, and the Dodgers have all won championships in the last few years.
Yeah.
Other than that, I can't even think of a good story that has come out of California. I challenge you.
There is.
What good stuff have you heard come out of it?
Yep. Dude, I heard.
Show me something.
I heard there's been a drop in shark attacks too, because even they're like, we're
out here, bro.
I don't
That's
even want,
big, though.
They don't even want to.
They've all moved to Florida.
All the sharks
All
are
my
here.
friends in Miami
They were just like, listen,
are
guys,
getting eaten by sharks.
enough is enough. That's human feces. I'm out.
By the way, did you guys see the other day they found a great white shark on the shores of Florida? Did you see that?
No.
Did you see the fact that they actually found this? But you know, it's wild when you see this and you hear a story about what's going on with LA. Yeah, they found look at this. Great white shark washes
Florida?
up
Where
in
was it?
Florida.
And look, white people petting it.
Up in the it was in the Panhandle.
Yeah,
it was
North
a
Florida.
13 to 15 foot great white that was pregnant with other little great whites.
Oh God!
Yeah. So was it male or female shark? Because you never know these days. Because if it was out in California, it could have been a male shark.
It identified as hungry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but anyways, going back to it, you're right, Adam. I mean, you keep hearing these stories, whether it's a new story yesterday, a month ago, 6 months ago, a year ago. But all of this stuff staying the way it is, if the prospects of a Gavin Newsom running ends up becoming a reality, that in itself is something that the opposition is going to be having to show just results, and he's going to spin it. But I think you can spin stuff to DeSantis. I don't think you can spin stuff to Trump. I think Trump, if he tries to go that direction, he's going to dismantle Newsom. If it is Newsom, you bet $1,000 40 minutes ago that it's not going to be Newsom. But if it is Newsom, it'd be pretty wild. If it's Michelle, it'll be interesting. If it stays at Biden, Biden's probably not going to want to show up to the debate. I saw a video the other day I want to share with you guys. Have you guys seen what the border looks like on the Gaza Strip to Egypt? So think about this. Egypt wants to protect their border.
Yes.
From who? From Gaza.
Gaza, of course.
Have you seen what this looks like? This is their border. Go ahead and play it.
Yeah.
What the?
This is the border.
That's a border.
Gaza.
That border looks very racist.
Yeah.
By the way, maybe we need to hire Egyptians to come and build a border down here.
Seriously.
Look at this.
Wow.
Yes.
How many people do you see trying anything there?
Well,
Go ahead and do it. Good luck.
That border
The Egyptians
right there,
know how to build big things. They're going to be around for a while. Look at the pyramids.
That's the point.
By the way, that border is not to prevent Israelis from attacking, because they've had a peace agreement for, 40 years now. That is to keep Hamas out of Egypt.
Well, that's
Translate it. That's to keep their country sovereign and safe.
Yes.
Well, I'm tired of people. I can't tell you how many conversations I had while I was in Cali. They're like, "What's your?" Because we're all border. That's the biggest problem. I go, "You mean to tell me a wall doesn't work?" They're like, "You think that solves it?" I go, especially after
Bro, that's not even a wall. That's like the Terminator wall out
What are your
there.
family
RoboCop
members
wall.
and friends saying in LA about when they're watching the pod and they're seeing you? What are they saying? You got it all wrong with California.
Far right. I'm a far right. I'm like, okay. Every single thing that we said, okay. I told you so. But they are so proud of their party.
Two things could be true at once. I mean,
hold on. When I say I hate to say I told you so, we told you so. Every single thing that they did, from the spying, from Obama to where we are right now, I go, tell me. And Pat, these are like my very close first cousins who I love and I would die for. I'm like, they cannot say out of their mouth, yeah, you were right. That's why I respect Michael Rappaport, because at least he could say it. And these are family members. I'm in group chats that it's like, half of them are left, half of them are kind of in the center, but a lot of them are Trump. But I'm like, you can't admit that type of wall right there would really, really help. But their attitude is like this. Well, we always had that. What's the limit? 500, a million? I go, the past 4 years, it's been astronomical. I showed him Pat's tweet where it's like 3 million, 2 million. I go, when is enough enough? Oh, you don't want to protect Ukraine?
Why did you bring this up just in the middle of that conversation?
California, border, protecting a border.
Yeah, well,
it's an ongoing issue.
We all learned that in 2016 that walls were racist.
Yeah.
Here we have Exhibit A, if you can pull up that image again, Rob, of a wall in between Egypt and Gaza.
Yeah.
And these are all Muslim, Arabs, living in the same region. This isn't racist. This is protecting your borders.
Check this out. Read this. Zoom in real quick. Egypt built massive parallel border walls and an underground steel wall that extends 60 feet below. The area is patrolled by the military. There's only one checkpoint on the border, and it is guarded by troops and drones.
Yes.
All this is to keep Gazans out.
Yes.
Always remember, only with an open mind can one jump into the wealth of knowledge and uncover its hidden treasures.
By the way, do you know why they built the wall 60 feet below ground?
So you can't crawl, you can't tunnel under?
Because they also built tunnels into Egypt.
Of course.
Okay?
Of course.
So Hamas has taken billions of dollars of world aid to build terror tunnels.
Yeah.
And it's easy to say, oh, God forbid, Israel, they're destroying the tunnels. Well, call out Egypt. Call out Egypt. But nobody wants to talk about Egypt.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to talk about that. They're doing the exact same thing.
And I hate when people say, do you know how much that would cost? Listen, shut up with the cost. Like you say, shut everything down. Let's just focus. Every freaking engineer, every construction worker, Adam, build something.
Have you ever seen a wall like that in your life?
No. Extremely
that
impressive.
That is not a wall.
We don't give, by the way, remember we were talking about.
I've never seen prisons with walls like this.
No, giving money to other countries, guess what? Until, and I mean, this is amazing. I wish you could have it. Until we have that type of security
this looks like
here,
a wall in 3030.
Yeah, then we'll start then you guys want to have a conversation about giving money to Ukraine? We'll have a conversation after this situation is done.
Tom, high, low. How much does it cost to build a wall like this at the southern border from all the way to the west of Pacific Ocean, whatever the San Diego, Tijuana, all the way down to Texas, whatever that county is going to be? How much do you think it would cost to build something like this? 60 feet below, so they can't even come through with their tunnels.
I don't know. All you got to do is figure out the cost per mile and then figure out how many miles is it from San Diego to
Would this cost more than $60 billion?
No.
Probably more than $60 billion, but I see where you're getting to. If we only really use that in the border bill, where we put a bunch of money in the border bill and use it for our border.
But Tom, I'm asking you, do you think it would cost more than $60 billion?
I think you might be able to get it done for $60 billion.
No,
why do you think it would cost that much money?
Yeah, I think, Tom, wasn't it? Then they proposed $5 billion for the border wall.
$5 billion.
Well, no, if you're going to dig a ditch and you're going to put it 60 feet down metal and then you're going to do the concrete.
60 feet is 6 stories.
Let's say $20 billion. Let's say $20 billion, just to give a reasonable number.
Maybe you throw a couple bucks our way.
All you need to do is
some air miles our way. Whatever you want to do with that.
No, if Egypt would just tell you what was the cost per mile and then just multiply it. That's,
Yeah. So, but I don't know if it's going to be a $60 billion bill. But let's just say it is $60 billion. Yeah. Guess what? Let's do that first, and let's go have the conversation about Ukraine.
Yeah. Then listen, and then we'll sit at the table.
There it is right here.
Okay, 152 miles, 1.6 billion. Oh, they did it $1 million per mile.
Okay, so guess what? Guys, it's crazy. We could do it.
$450 million.
And we could do it. You want to talk about bringing jobs? What are you doing? I'm building the border wall.
But we're also talking about going 60 feet
below
deep.
ground.
So if we go 60 feet deep, which is what they did, right? And so how much, what does it say? What does it say for the cost? How much per what? 152 miles?
Yeah, 1.6 billion. So it's 10.5 million.
No, it's not 1.6 million. It's 450 million US dollars. It's 1.6 billion NIS.
So, sorry.
But can you imagine Trump building a wall like that? He would never. Because he's going to build a big, beautiful wall. That wall's disgusting. Yeah. It has barbed wire.
$3 million. $3 million.
How much?
$3 million a mile.
$3 million a mile.
Okay, so how many miles is southern border?
How many miles from San Diego to San Marcos?
I'm telling you right now, it's not going to be 60 billion.
1,951 miles.
If this is over 60 billion, I'll be shocked.
No way. It can't be.
1,950
even if
1 miles times
3 million.
3 million equals $5 billion.
Sold. Guess what?
$5.8 billion.
You're now officially fired from my CFO position.
Guess what? Pull the trigger. Let's go.
You realize we can build the same flipping thing they did in Egypt for $5.8 billion.
Yep. And how many jobs does that bring to people? What are you doing for a living? I'm building the border. That's why I'm building a wall.
So what's
By the way, we don't even need a wall that extreme.
Yeah, no,
okay?
hold on.
They're fighting terrorists.
Time out.
We're just trying to keep migrants out.
Let's not digress.
What are the chocolate chips in those migrants?
No, Adam. I want you go with what works. That works. I want exactly the same architect, whoever the hell's in charge, a foreman, bring that son of a bitch here. We'll give you, guess what? You know what? We'll be generous. Here's $6
you know who
billion.
his name is? Who's the architect?
Who?
His name is Mohammed Sisi. Oh. And he's the president of
Egypt?
Mexico, according to Joe Biden.
But listen, See. By the way,
let's bring in Sisi, the president of Mexico. A little ironic that the wall. It's very ironic.
Very, very ironic. Ironic. But dude, think about it.
It's like rain on a wedding day, Vinny.
Don't you think? By the way, I'd give him
10,000 spoons.
I'd give him $6 billion just to give us that. So guess what? All that Ukraine and all that money is complete BS. We can do it. Remember Obama? Yes, we can.
We can do
That's
it.
what we can. Yes, you can, bro. Don't give me no excuses.
Anyway, I
that
think
works.
That proves right there that walls are not racist.
Nope, they work. They work.
However, down in Egypt, 9,570 citizens crossed into Israel illegally before that wall was built. After the wall was built, only 16 people were able to cross.
16.
So it went from 9,000 down to 16.
That is insane.
No,
by
Egypt.
The way. That is insane, by the way.
Those are like Berlin Wall statistics. Remember the Berlin Wall? Like
Rob,
one person for 5 years would make it through.
Rob, can you send that over to me, please? Just text it to me. Fantastic. There you go. For $5.8 billion, we can protect the 2,000 miles of the U.S.-Mexico border. Think about that.
How about this? This is actually not even all the migrants that are coming into this country. We stop them at the border. We give them a little hard hat. We give them a hammer. Get to work, guys.
Wow.
Once the wall's done, you can come into the country.
I like that.
I'm actually not even joking.
I like that.
We also have the
18 million people show up to the border to build a wall, and boom, come on in.
If you help build the wall, you get to stay.
And by the way, it's also the northern border because in Minnesota, they're talking about the hunters that are... There are these hunting areas for elk and moose that are on the Canadian border. Have you seen the stories? These guys are out hunting, and they're calling Fish and Game wardens saying, hey, there are women, children, and people walking across here in spring as the snow is thawing, walking across this. And they're finding them from our northern border. And these are hunters out there like, whoa, this isn't safe.
So what, you're worried about the northern border?
I'm worried about basically the planned, orchestrated invasion of these United States by millions of migrants.
By the way, speaking of the northern border, this is actually serious. You can Google it. Did you hear about the guy that identified as a deer and dressed up as a deer and was running around the woods? And you know what happened to him? He got shot by a hunter.
Did they take his head off and put it on a wall?
Show me if you can pull up this image, Rob.
They better have his head on a wall in their house. They have to. I would have.
This is where we're at right now.
Wait, who is that?
Story of man who self-identifies as a deer stems from satire. Is it true or not,
No, it can't be real. That can't be real. Because I just picture his head on the wall and you're like, where'd you get that?
He was shot by 2 South Carolina hunters while presenting
it's
a deer. Is this real?
It's satire, right?
But this is where we're at today.
And I wouldn't be surprised.
It actually might be real.
Yeah, no, it might be real. But
Rob, can you pull
there it is. Trans species man who self-identifies as deer.
That
you want to go,
real.
bro?
By the way, Donna, that pose on the left, you know what community is.
You know this is actually probably a true
Rob,
story.
can you pull up so Dr. Phil was on The View.
Beautiful.
You have that clip that Vinny sent you?
Yeah.
Dr. Phil was on The View, and go ahead and play this clip. It's very interesting what happens here. Go ahead.
And the same agencies that knew that are the agencies that shut down the schools for 2 years. Who does that?
What's up with his
Who
eyes?
takes away the support system for these children? Who takes them away and shuts it down? And by the way, when they shut it down, they stopped the mandated reporters from being able to see children that were being abused and sexually molested, and in fact sent them home and abandoned them to their abusers with no way to watch, and referrals dropped 50 to 60%. So
there was also a pandemic going on. They were trying to save kids' lives. Remember, we know a lot of folks who died during this. So it wasn't, people weren't laying around each other.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? We're lucky. Maybe we're lucky they didn't, because we kept them out of the places that they could be sick, because no one wanted to believe we had an issue.
Are you saying no school children died of COVID?
I'm saying it was the safest group.
Yeah.
They were the less vulnerable group, and they suffered and will suffer more from the mismanagement of COVID than they will from the exposure to COVID. And that's not an opinion, that's a fact.
Wow. Oh my God.
The audience
he got applause.
Yes.
He got an applause. You know, their handlers were like, no, don't clap for that. By the way, Whoopi Goldberg is one of the dumbest people that's on. Like, first of all, whoever's sitting at home watching The View, please go get a different hobby, dress up as a deer, run around in your backyard. But the fact is, he was talking about the school closures and how bad they affected it. How many kids, because we're talking about school children, how many kids under the age of 10 you think died because of COVID? Like, if you had to guess, Tom, how many young kids non-vaccinated? Like 0.001? And did you see her, the girl on the left, the leftist on the left? She's like, you mean to tell me no kids died?
Yeah, her name is Anna Navarro.
Yeah,
she used to live in my building in Miami.
The number is so minuscule. Like, but by the way, I'm shocked that one of their heads didn't pop off their shoulders because the truth is right in your face. How many died, Rob?
According to an article from CNN,
that's fake. I didn't want to hear it.
I'm gonna minus 10% off of it. Go ahead.
Well, then you'll be in the negatives. Children are significantly less likely to die from COVID-19 than any other age group. Less than 1% of all deaths since the start of the pandemic have been those under the age of 18. Yeah. So less than 1%.
Under 18. But they're talking about elementary schools.
I'm talking about elementary, so it's probably 0.0.
We all know that it's minuscule.
It's minuscule, but how brilliant is that?
Tom, do you have thoughts on this?
Dr. Phil is exactly right, and he's quoting from facts. I mean, I can't offer any other conclusion than to say, go Phil putting the facts out on a program and quoting it, correctly, that the kids were the least susceptible group. And in the school, you were able to identify those that were being subject to abuse and get them protection. However, that doesn't happen when you send them down to be locked up. And that's the point he's making, and he's absolutely factually correct.
Yeah, this is probably the second most important thing that Dr. Phil has probably ever said, or his second most famous clip. Because we all know that the most famous clip that he's ever done is PBD. You know it. Cash me outside, all right?
He made
We
her.
know this.
I hate that.
We know this. Do you have that video, Rob?
He gave us that girl.
Him giving truth to COVID. How about that?
Oh, my God. I can't even stand watching this girl.
That happened on
she's
Dr.
an A-list,
Phil.
A-list celebrity. Look, she's an
I want to
A-list.
say that PBD put this as his ringtone at one point.
At one point, for about a day. I hate to say this, kids.
Hey, Danielle, what's her name?
And I only speak the truth.
Yeah,
Danielle,
so
do you have that clip, Rob?
You can do it on Twitter, Rob. It's not going to be here. You go on Twitter, it's quick.
Cash
but
me
let's
outside.
go.
How about that?
Catch you where?
Outside.
Catch me outside. You want me to catch you where?
Last story. Rob, can you pull up, and Vinny, I want you to take this one over. Can you pull up the CIA shadow war Ukraine, Vinny?
Okay, so the CIA, according to the New York Times, during the Maidan coup, an unmarked U.S. plane carrying the head of the CIA landed in Kyiv. His role was to fuse the CIA and new Ukraine intel services into a regime to wage shadow war on Russia. They built 12 secret spy bases in Ukraine, and they did that for the past 10 years. This is a New York Times report, and somebody please guess anybody want to guess who this CIA guy was that was on this plane that went there to start shit?
Blinken?
Nope. John Brennan, Mr. Deep State himself. So listen to the post of Ukraine Force as part of the CIA-supported network of spy bases constructed in the past 8 years that included 12 secret locations among the Russian border. Before the war, the Ukrainians proved themselves to the Americans by collecting intercepts that helped prove Russia's involvement in the 2014 downing of a commercial jetliner, Malaysian Air Flight 17. The Ukrainians also helped the Americans go after the Russian operatives who meddled in the 2016 U.S. presidential election. So this is, by the way, this is 2 years before Putin even did anything with Ukraine. So when people try to be like, oh, we have nothing to do with this and nothing is going on, this is proof. The New York Times is not a right-leaning news publication. They're reporting at time that we were there and we've been stoking this type of war because they want conflict with Russia.
How did they prove that last sentence?
Well, which one? And the Ukrainians also helped the Americans go after the Russian operatives who meddled in the 2016 election.
Who? Ghosts?
Yeah, you weird ghost.
We've figured out that wasn't happening like that, right?
Yeah, but Pat, if you don't mind, another story that's kind of related in this whole Russia situation. I sent this to Rob. A Russian counter-terrorist group unit prevented a terrorist attack on Tucker Carlson, planned by the main dictator of intelligence of Ukraine. One man was arrested on terrorism charges in Moscow for allegedly accepting payment from Ukrainian intelligence to plant an explosive on Tucker Carlson's vehicle while he was in Russia. I sent Rob the video.
Is this a 26-year-old kid in the brown?
I think 26-year-old kid, yeah. He's sitting there, and he's sitting in front of the camera, and he's telling them, he's like, listen, this is what I wanted to do. And they actually had a photo. This is the guy right here. Rob, if you could play that.
Я Васильев Петр Алексеевич, 88 года рождения, уроженец Подольска. В ноябре 23 года был завербован сотрудником ГУР Украины через сеть интернет. Проходил обучение работе спецспека со спецсвязью, сбора подрыва взрывных устройств, а также работе с тайниками. 31 января куратор получил задание забрать с тайника взрывное устройство и использовать его для подрыва автомобиля.
Что вам обещали?
Здесь вознаграждение $4000.
Где должно было быть применено взрывное устройство?
На подземной парковке отеля «Фашизм» в Москве. Необходимо было забрать взрывное устройство из тайника и сложить его под транспорт.
Против кого планировалось применить взрывное устройство?
Ну, сообщили.
Why does he talk like he's got a gun to his head?
Well, I mean, they called it. He's a terrorist. Well, technically, he was going to be a terrorist. What went wrong? I was detained at the staging area. So basically, by the way, you know, people are like, Russia, Tucker should be worried about Russia. Ukraine was like, no. Stop him from going up there, from speaking to Putin at all, to shed any light about what's actually happening, to hear the other side speak. And then speaking of that, Adam, I don't know if you've read this, the CIA back Ukrainian intelligence officer just came out and said that Navalny, if you guys know, he passed away about a week ago, died of natural causes. This is Krilo Budanov, chief of the main Directorate of Intelligence of Ukraine Ministry and Defense, said that Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny died of a blood clot. And this is him on camera. I send it to Rob. By the way, why would a Ukrainian guy admit that this guy died of natural causes, which is a blood clot? I mean, unless, you know, you want to blame Pfizer. I don't know who you're going to blame for this. It definitely wasn't Putin. I don't think Putin's out there giving blood clots to people. This is him right here talking about the death of Navalny.
І ГУР мається на увазі, і вам особисто, як вбили Навального? І чи, сумніви є?
Я можу вас розчарувати, але те, що нам відомо, він реально загинув від тромба. І це більш-менш підтверджено.
Тобто це природня...
Це те, що ми знаємо. Так. Це взято не з інтернету. Давайте так вам
So stroke, basically, right?
Stroke or something, but I mean, and I know Adam's, you know, my friend, my best friend, Putin, turns out to be, you know, still a bad guy. This wasn't, this is coming from a Ukrainian, the head of the Ukrainian intelligence was like, yeah, it turns out it was just a blood clot. Sorry, guys.
Right. I know. When you see all these things, what do you think, Vinny? When you see all these reports, everything you think, it reminds me of, you know, SNL did a thing on TWA 400. And if you go way back in history, it's a TWA flight that crashed in Long Island Sound after takeoff because a fuel tank exploded. And there were people on the ground that actually had pictures at that time that showed something was streaking toward the plane. Yeah. And so the FAA officially said, and NTSB, National Transportation Safety Administration, basically said, well, it was frayed wires in a fuel tank and it detonated the fuel that was in there. And they said, oh, okay. And Saturday Night Live, they said, well, what frayed the wires in the fuel tank? And they said, well, it was probably that damn missile. So it was so you see the point, as you get down to it, it's like Kennedy died of natural causes. Really? Yeah, his heart stopped.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's like, it's very natural to have your heart stop if your head's blown off. So it's so that would be quite natural. That's what I see in all this. And you've got these people that are out there saying this. The guy was in prison. He's young, of a healthy age.
Well, not necessarily, Tom. He smoked, and there were reports that he was unhealthy. He did a bunch of hunger strikes, which really, really ruined him. He was not a really healthy person. But go ahead, go continue.
Okay, but
go ahead. What?
Regardless, there's more than enough fingerprints on this thing to say that, you know, and we don't want you to see the body for 10 days, allowing what coroners can describe as a contaminating decomposition that your body does. Leave them in a body bag, leave them in there, and let it start breaking down, making it harder for coroners to do their work later. So,
but coming from a Ukrainian, answer me this: why would the head of Ukrainian intelligence say, "Listen, it wasn't."
What's the guy's name from Ukraine?
Kirilo Budanov.
What do you know about him?
He is the chief of main Directorate of Intelligence of Ukraine Ministry and Defense.
How much credibility do you think he has?
I'll say it one more time. He is the head, the Ministry of Defense.
Okay.
Why would he say anything?
I'm just asking
He's
you in
very credible.
Okay.
For Ukraine. Why would he say anything to help Vladimir Putin?
I've never heard of this person, but I'll give you some of the headlines from some of the more credible sources out there. And I'll give you left and right. That way you can't be like, well, CNN said it. The Guardian, Vladimir Putin had Alexei Navalny killed to thwart prisoner swap, allies claim. Putin had Navalny killed to thwart prisoner swap. That's The Guardian again. The Independent, Putin had Alexei Navalny killed to stop prisoner swap, allies claim. Al Jazeera, not exactly a left-wing media outlet, they killed him. Why Putin killed Navalny. CBS, Alexei Navalny's team confirms the death of Putin critic. This is PBS. World leaders blame Putin's government in Russia. So I know that you look at Putin like Gavin Newsom looks at Joe Biden or Tom looks at dead trees. I know that. But I don't know why you're rushing to the defense of Putin. But in all likelihood, Putin, just like he's killed many of his foes, most likely killed Navalny.
But that's speculation. I'm not running to do anything.
Well, I'm citing actual evidence. You're citing some random dude in Ukraine.
You're citing.
I'm not citing evidence.
I'll wait, Adam.
Am I citing evidence or not?
You're citing.
Answer that question.
You're citing news reports, which are news reports. I'm telling you. Wait, ready for this? I
guess news reports hold no water, but Vinny's random fucking opinion. Okay. That's the end all be all.
Adam, random opinion. You know I love. As soon as we think that you're kind of coming back to center, you have
guys put a poll. Reuters, AP News, Al Jazeera.
You trust Reuters?
PBS, Al Jazeera, The Independent,
You're
Guardian,
quoting Jazeera?
or Vinny.
You're quoting Al Jazeera? Adam, you're quoting
I'm quoting multiple sources here, Vinny.
Al Jazeera, of all people, are quoting Al Jazeera.
Why can't I quote Al Jazeera?
Hold on a second. I'm not speculating anything. I'm showing you on video the head of the Ukrainian intelligence saying this. The guy died of... Hold on. Look at me. Hold on. Yeah. You tell me why he would say that.
You know those 47-year-old guys in prison that just die of natural causes.
Adam, blame Pfizer.
So, Vinny,
blame Pfizer. Maybe he was vaccinated.
By all estimations, how old are you, by the way?
45.
You got 2 more years, buddy.
You're being a ridiculous guy.
Tom, I'm shocked you made it this long. You're 62 years old.
No.
By natural causes, you should have been gone years ago.
Adam, I think you got to be careful with something because you're now proclaiming the media to be this paragon of truth for your. Hey, let me finish.
It's not like I'm saying for media. I'm actually giving you sources.
Sure. Now you can. How about we go back 3 years ago and we talk about all the sources that were aligned on the Steele dossier?
But that's why I'm giving you left and right.
Left and right had the Steele dossier wrong.
Okay. I guess, guys,
the media is hardly
is the end all be all on Alexei Navalny.
No,
not the Guardian, not Al Jazeera, not CBS, not the Independent, not PBS, not Reuters.
Adam,
Vinny.
I got you.
So all the majority are left.
You do me a favor. If there was a Vinny.com, how would it be spelled?
Yeah.
Would you want to
V-I-N-I-E?
We
agree on that. 100%.
Can you spell it with a Y, bro? If Vinny.com is available or not?
It's going to be some Italian guy like this.
As long as if it goes to porn site, just hang tight before you show the guys in the back.
There's no Vinny.
Vinny?
Oh, I know Vinny.
Who's
this freaking guy?
Coppola, I know this guy.
Do you really?
I know Vinny. Yeah, he was in a mafia sketch we did.
He owns Vinny.com.
He owns Vinny.com.
Good for him.
Can you try a different name?
And he's an acting coach. What about Vinny was right?
How about this?
VinnyWasRight.com.
Beanie.com. With
Beanie.
B-I-N-N-I-E.
Okay, VinnyWasRight.com is available. By the way, okay. All right, we're coming to the end of the podcast. Well, a lot going on, but what you're saying is citing media, and then what Vinny is saying and Tom is saying is, again, the 2 institutions that America has the least trust ever had is mainstream media and the U.S. government. America has a hard time with that today. However, it's time to give away 2 tickets to the VIP event that sold out immediately.
All right.
So the event with Cuomo and Candace Owens sold out. And today, for those of you that made any purchases of the gear, Future Looks Bright with $100 or more, and the whatever, maybe the hats, the shirts, the gear. Someone bought 4 backpacks of Valuetainment's backpacks, which is sick.
Well, the backpacks are sick. Actually.
Yeah, those backpacks are leather, high quality. I wear those when I go around.
Yeah, so sometimes I wear the backpack and I put Vinny in the bag and I just walk around.
Vinny. All right, so let's see who the winners are to get 2 tickets, Rob.
Let's
VIP to come to the Candace Owens and Cuomo Podcast. Go ahead and spin the wheel. We need the sound, though, right, to spin the wheel. There's got to be some kind of a sound. There's a lot of names, by the way. See, the challenge is we can't give a name. Are we spinning 2, Rob, or just 1?
15126.
It's one pair of tickets for the
one
VIP.
pair of tickets.
Okay. And I have the winner's name if you
What's
like.
the winner's name?
Ivan Klimovich.
Ivan sounds like a French, bro. Ivan might have been responsible for Navalny.
Ivan, we are looking forward to seeing you here on March 8th with Candace Owens and Chris Cuomo. Okay, looking forward to it. Anyways, tomorrow we got another podcast. Tomorrow, I believe we got a Hollywood podcast. We got a lot of current events to discuss with Hollywood. Tomorrow is Gina Carano.
Ooh,
will be on the podcast here tomorrow. And then Thursday, the interview with Eric Prince will go live. Take care, everybody. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye, bye-bye.